You are watching the American Conference on ESPN. From beautiful Spectrum Field in Clearwater, Florida, it is the 6th annual American Championship game featuring the Cincinnati Bearcats and the Huskies of Yukon. Both teams have been perfect thus far, an unblemished 3-0 for each side, including the Huskies, who started things off yesterday by defeating Wichita State. Michael Chiaviti making just his 9th start of the season, lacing a 2-run double down the right field line to put the Huskies on the board. They would never look back. They would win it by a final of 8-3. What has gotten into Cincinnati's offense, meanwhile? They would play the later game and they would knock off a very dangerous and talented UCF squad. A.J. Bumpus with a 2-run homer, and Cincinnati would win it by a final score of 10-6, and that is how we got here today. Mike Morgan alongside Nick Belmonte. It is great to be with you folks on a terrific Sunday afternoon. Nick, this championship game kind of features the old guard versus new blood. UConn's been there a bunch. Cincinnati trying to make history.
Hey, how about this? UConn, Jim Pender's club, they ought to pay property tax here in Clearwater. This is the 6th year of the tournament. They've been here 3 times, won it in 2016. But how about Cincinnati? Scott Guggens in his 2nd year has his team on the brink. If they win today, not winning only winning the title, going to the NCAA tournament for the first time since 1974. Let's see, 74. Disco music was starting out, and Godfather 2 was in the theater.
Never go against the family, Nick Belmonte, and never go against A.J. Bumpus in this tournament. He's red hot.
Hey, A.J. Bumpus came into this 6 for 6 right out of the chute in this tournament. Now, he's an accomplished jazz saxophonist, but he will tell you it doesn't mean a thing if you ain't got that swing, and he has it. Hitting .778 in this tournament. They're going to need A.J. Bumpus if they're going to win the title and get to that tournament here today.
Both these teams have been hitting the baseball very well. Wyatt Stapp is a veteran and has been raking of late. He'll be in the 3-hole. Joey Weimer, who made an outstanding catch in left field, he will clean up, one of the top power hitters in the American Conference. This is rare in that we have a conference championship game and both teams still have a good amount of pitching. We're going to see a couple of the better arms in the league this year.
Yeah, and Kirsten's a guy with good numbers. You can see on the year. A California kid from Pinole, California gets the call, and he's got the perfect temperament for this. Laid-back California kid.
First pitch is over at 85 miles an hour for strike one. We are underway here on another sunny day in Clearwater, Florida. Temperatures expected to reach about 95 by game's end. It's the American Championship game, which is full of some really good southern teams, but these are the 2 most northern teams in the American, Cincinnati and Yukon. As you see, Santiago starting things off, the 3rd baseman.
When you play a championship game like this, you want to get it going, try to score early, relax your team, and that's his job here as the leadoff man.
Santiago, a junior out of Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, goes down for the first out of the inning. Kirsten off to a good start. Backward K for Jeff Kirsten.
Yeah, he catches him right here. He's looking for a fastball, and just a little wrinkle on that pitch right there has him looking. So good start, as you said, for Kirsten.
Kirsten, 6'4", 198 pounds, senior out of Pinole, California, one of 7 California kids on the UConn roster.
Yeah, he's a guy, he's a ground ball guy. The high 80s, but it's all about that. And he's put golden runners on, and he needs that too, because Cincinnati loves to steal bases.
Joey Bellini, the shortstop, finds a spot and knocked that one through. Bellini, the leading hitter, and this Bearcat offense coming in hitting a cool 300, and he starts off the first base runner for the Bearcats.
You know, funny story of Bellini. Bellini, they call him in after fall. He's a JUCO transfer out of St. John's River. And they said, you're going to need to hit more. And he looked at his coach, Coach Guggens. He said, Coach, you don't think I can hit? He said, no, I didn't say that. Well, it turns out, as you said, leading hit. Guess he can hit.
He can hit pretty well. This Cincinnati team has hit very well. 29 runs in the 3 games entering this championship game, and that is not something that was expected. Cincinnati in the bottom 3rd all year long in the American, most of the hitting categories. But this has been a scrappy team. Remember, they lost nearly everybody from a year ago. It was supposed to be a rebuilding year, picked last in the American preseason, and here they are as the #2 seed. Wyatt Stapp, the lefty, in the box.
You talk about rebuilding year. Ooh, Scott Guggen's lost a lot of players off that club a year ago.
Tops one back to the pitcher, who will go to second for one, to first, double play. Great job turned in by Jeff Kirsten, and a perfect 1-6-3 twin killing.
Well, Morgs, you want to get out of the inning early? Well, where do you live? 163 DP Lane. Off to a good start as Yukon.
Beautiful Clearwater, Florida. They have had this event now 6 years. Every time it has been played right here and in this ballpark, and I don't imagine anybody wants to change that anytime soon. UConn up to bat in a scoreless game. The Huskies lineup card filled out by longtime head coach Jim Penders in his 16th year. A number of veterans and the Winkle brothers have been putting forth their best effort thus far.
Yeah, Chris Winkle's 4 for 8, getting a cool 500 in this tournament.
And they'll be going up against David Orndorff, 5-2 on the year with a 4.56 earned run average, the redshirt senior out of Pasadena.
Yeah, see the numbers on here. Just 14 months removed from Tommy John surgery, and that's quite an outstanding feat. Started pitching somewhere about 1/3 of the way through the year. Makes it to the final game. They call him the Rec Spect Assassin. And you can see the glasses he wears right there.
Topa will start things off. Meanwhile, for the Huskies, the captain, the senior, who's been in this event all 4 years in his career, including a couple appearances on the all-tournament team.
There's a guy who throws strikes, and he told coach, he goes, I want the ball. Championship game, and he said he was working them yesterday in the dugout. Said around the 3rd inning, he said, tomorrow, I want it, coach.
He threw about 80 pitches on Tuesday in a winning performance, but there was no question, even with a day or two of less rest than normal. Here's a young man at your senior year. You don't get to do it again. Championship game and a chance at history for Cincinnati. Again, they have not been to the NCAA tournament since 1974, and their situation is very simple. Win and they're in, lose and it's go home for good. They come in at 29-29. And how about this, Nick? Here we are, the American Conference. We've got the 2 most northern schools, and both starting pitchers are from the state of California.
Well, a long way from home, but getting the job done by one of them by the end of the day.
3-1 to Topa. Catches the corner. Topa disagrees as he threw the bat. That's never a good way to warm yourself up to the home plate umpire.
Yeah, they don't like that for some reason.
Can't imagine why.
Topa scuffling in this tournament, coming in today hitting .319, but only 180 in the tournament with 5 strikeouts.
Cuts and misses, strike 3. 92 miles an hour and right on by the swinging bat of the left fielder.
I mean, Orndorff gets that fastball up there, 90 to 92, good slider. He just challenges fastball.
Now the shortstop, Anthony Prado, junior, hitting .309 on the year. Takes a look at strike 1. If this first inning is any indication, both these pitchers are quick workers. We're in favor of that.
Especially on a hot day.
Yes.
Makes your defense play better. Wind blowing out to left.
There have been some lengthy games in this tournament, but again, if you're going to have your best chance to win it, these two teams have done it right. They have taken the path of least resistance, each going 3-0, staying in the winner's bracket. There's that win that Nick speaks of, gusting to left field. It's ballpark, the spring training home of the Philadelphia Phillies for about a half a century. And a great spot for a conference tournament such as this, for a conference that is really gaining a great reputation in college baseball. The American in good shape for at least 4 teams in the tournament this year. That one served to the right side, and a base hit for Anthony Prado.
Described by his coach as New York tough.
Second baseman, number 8.
The guy you love to have on your ball club.
Now Michael Woodworth. I mentioned the California connections for Connecticut. That stems from their pitching coach Joshua McDonald. And this is one of the key finds from the state of California. The senior Michael Woodworth hitting .323 with 5 homers on the year.
Woodworth called by his coach Jim Penders the team MVP this season. He says he slowed down recently, just been banged up. And that'll happen. You get in tournament play and you're playing just about every day. That's when injuries will occur. You got to play through them.
That one fisted foul and out of play. There is a good amount of foul territory in this ballpark, at least near home plate. Woodworth out of Alameda, California, a transfer from Sierra College. I was asking the Yukon radio crew, and what is the sales pitch for the coaching staff of Yukon to get all these California kids? And the answer was actually pretty simple. Off the plate outside. The answer is playing time. So many of those kids probably could go to a UC Irvine or a Santa Barbara, maybe even a Fullerton, but it would take a couple of years before they crack the starting lineup. UConn selling PT right away for a program that's been very good in the American Conference. I mean, they have been a fixture in the postseason.
Well, in 16 years, Jim Penders has done such a great job, and they got the new stadium coming next year. We'll get into that as the day unfolds, but the program on its way up, obviously in a storied program, as we mentioned. Runners up a year ago in this tournament.
They did win this event back in 2016 en route to a trip to the Gainesville Regional. They would eventually lose to the Florida Gators. They made a super regional in 2011. Hopefully that fan is okay. Took a little bit of a spill.
Yeah, all the way is Cole Murphy, and he just lays out. Title game, you think he wants it?
I thought he'd given up on the play. I didn't even think that was going to be within his reach. Almost made a sensational catch.
He knows what's at stake.
Runner on the go, throw to second, and he's in there. Prado beats the rap for his 14th stolen base on the year in 24 attempts. A runner in scoring position.
The throws to the third base side of the bag, and that's what really made this thing go awry. Just didn't get the tag over in time. Throw beat him, just not on the bag.
Blasted down the left field line. If it's fair, it's a major problem, but it is foul by about 15 feet. It's 329 down the left field line. If you park one up a few rows, it's right near Frenchie's Grill.
And Frenchie's Grill has been peppered by one player in this tournament, Mitch Holding from Cincinnati.
Pitch upstairs. So trouble brewing for David Orndorff. A single, a steal, And now a walk to Woodworth, so 2 on, 1 out. A 9-pitch at bat to Woodworth culminates with a base on balls, and here's Pat Winkle, the talented freshman catcher.
Yeah, and Jim Penders raves about this kid. He said he is a outstanding player and a pro prospect. He's one of the best young catchers he's ever had.
Winkle, whose brother Chris Winkle also in the starting lineup. It's Pat Winkle, who is the highest prospect on this team. He actually could have been a very high draft pick. The Yankees were extremely high on him, but he let it be known he wanted to go to UConn. He wanted to play with his brother. They expect him to be a second, third round draft pick in a couple of years. He's got that much raw ability at just 19 years of age. A great receiver and really coming along with the bat as well.
And had an offer from Vandy.
Slaps that one foul and out of play. Not surprising that Tim Corbin and that staff would be on a talented player, and especially a talented player from the Northeast. Of course, all those guys on his staff have some ties to the Northeast.
Yeah, Coach Corbin from Maine.
Vanderbilt Commodores playing in the SEC Championship game later on today against Ole Miss. That'll be on ESPN2. Ole Miss has made a lot of noise here late. Vanderbilt's been making noise all year long. They're a lock for one of those coveted national seeds. There is one program from this conference that has a chance at it. That's East Carolina, but they did not do themselves any favors by bowing out early. 0-2 is swung on and missed. Winkle goes down on strikes for the second out of the inning.
92-mile-an-hour fastball, throws it out of his zone. It's a good chase pitch. He offered at it. And he really needed that because he was getting himself in trouble. He just went with the high heat up and away. Got him to bite.
Paul Gazzo is the designated hitter. Gazzo, the transfer from Tulane, where his brother Sal still plays for the Green Wave. And there was a memorable day in the Gazzo family this year. On the same day, Paul Gazzo hit a home run for the Huskies. Sal Gazzo hit a home run for the Green Wave. That'll make mom and dad really proud.
That was a good day for the Gazzos.
It's a really good day for the Gazzos.
Their dad, Morrow, played in the big leagues and is the manager of the New Britain Bees of the Atlantic League. Just named manager this year. He followed Wally Backman.
Oh, wow. Former New York Met. The day that the two brothers hit the home run, that was actually here in Clearwater. That was on the first day of the tournament on Tuesday. So mom and dad were both here. It's one of the few times they could see each son hit each home run in person. Gazzo grounds one, takes a kangaroo hop off the bag at third. A foot race there, and they got him on a bang-bang play.
Oh, you may want to challenge that one.
Keep in mind, each team has one challenge. And it's a critical call at third base for the final out. No indication of a challenge as we take another look.
This is bang bang right here. Did he get it? Did he not? Ooh. Call stands. Well, you look at that play right here. It is bang bang. It looks like on the replay they're going to show up at the exact same time. Now remember this, Mike Morgan. There is no rule that says tie goes to the runner. Mm-hmm. That's just kind of backyard myth, right?
Mm-hmm,
we say it when we're kids, but there is no rule. You're either safe or you're out.
There is one rule when it comes to replay, and that was not challenged, by the way. It has to be indisputable video evidence to overturn a play like that, just like in football. And so Huskies electing not to challenge as Weimer ambushes the first pitch and drives one down the line. It'll be a double for the mullet man. Joey Weimer, the left fielder.
When he hits them, they call him the mullet mashes. Talking to Scott Guggens about Weimer, he said, this is a guy, he's just effervescent, flamboyant. He plays with all this flair. As you said, ambushes a first pitch down the line, gets himself down there in scoring position. And Scott Guggens says, you know, he's sometimes he's a little bit too flamboyant, but I don't want to coach it out of him.
Right.
And a good analogy there is Javier Baez and Joe Madden said the same thing about Baez. He said, I'm just going to let him play. But there it is. There's the mullet. You can see the back end.
You didn't do much air guitar after base hits in your career, did you?
I know. There wasn't any signals back then. You just felt good about yourself when you got a hit.
So Weimer, the former high school quarterback, at second. And here is Holding, the Aussie. He played on the Australian national team, junior, hitting 190 on the year. The starting catcher.
Yeah, he's hitting 190, but he's in there for a reason, not just his catching. He leads the team in on-base percentage by a lot. 396 for a guy hitting 190. That's why he's in the lineup.
Yeah, to your point, 30 walks on the year, the second highest total for a guy who's hitting below the Mendoza line. Swing and a miss, 2 balls and a strike on Holding. Holding, who played junior college ball in Odessa before finding his way to Cincinnati. There's only one player in the starting lineup from the state of Ohio for Cincinnati. It's a program that has to recruit nationally, and I really always have great respect for the coaches that are not at the quote-unquote blue blood programs, because they have to be a little more creative in recruiting. Top-notch kids are not looking to go to their school. They have to find those diamonds in the rough. And both these coaches have had a knack of doing that.
Yeah, they had to go down under to get Mr. Holding. There's Jim Penders, and his team is 16 years for Jim Penders. Is what he has done at UConn's been amazing.
It really is. They're going to be in their 7th NCAA tournament since 2010. I think that's a number that would sneak up on a lot of people, even who follow college baseball religiously. Very quietly, Connecticut has been one of the most consistently good programs this decade.
And what do we notice here about the 190 hitter? He's worked the count full again. It's a big pitch in this ball game. I would assume he's straight challenge here.
Top foul again.
And that's what Holding will give you. Forget the 190 batting average. He gives you quality at bats. Hit a long home run early in this tournament on the second day up at the left field area, Frenchie's Restaurant.
Weimer with good wheels off the back at second base. Single to the outfield will likely score him. Did he go? Yes. There's first base umpire Shane Matheny. So a big strikeout for Kirsten.
Brought his hands in, tied him up. Kind of a half swing you're going to see right here. And did the bat go beyond the plate? Oh, by a lot. He tried to sell it, though. Took his ankle guard off, started to trot down, and he got rung up by the first base umpire.
Second baseman Jace Mercer will step in the box. Runner at second now, 1 out in the scoreless game. American Championship game, the 6th of its kind. Kirsten from Pinole, California. He threw on Tuesday. That was his throw day. He came out of the bullpen, worked 3 1/3 scoreless. Wanted the ball here today. In search of his 6th win of the year. He's a really just laid back California kid who's got kind of a monotone voice. In fact, it's not uncommon for his teammates, who all love him to death, but sometimes imitation is a form of flattery. They all have their own impersonation of how he talks. Jake Wallace, the closer, apparently does the best impression of his occasional battery mate. So you're not going to see a lot of emotion out of Kirsten on the mound. Even that last call, he didn't agree with it. In his own way, he kind of showed some disgust, but not very animated. Good or bad, he's pretty stoic on the bump.
Mercer's a guy that started the season off batting leadoff and actually started having some allergy problems where his eyes were actually swollen shut. He had to sit out a couple of games, and that's when Eric Santiago went up to his coach and said, "Hey, coach, I could lead off. Take the advice of your player that wants to do it."
A 3-0 count to the second baseman. Takes that one for strike one. UConn projected as a number 2 seed. That probably won't change regardless of what happens today. That being said, obviously, they would love to pick up their second American Championship Tournament trophy if they can today. That one toward the hole, backhanded and off the glove of the first baseman Winkle, and now coming home and sliding safely is Weimer.
What a great heads-up play by Weimer. He recognized the throw going back to third. David Langer, the third baseman, caught the throw and thought Weimer was coming back, was reaching for a tag. Little did he know Weimer is sliding in the home plate. Weimer right here, he's going to just see it, and he's going to recognize the throw. This is where you make the run right here. This is the flamboyancy we're talking about, the Javier Baez that's in him. Great instincts on the bases. Saw the throw going behind him, took off for home. And watch Langer right here. He's assuming Weimer's coming back. Nobody home.
And again, Weimer is a great athlete. He's a high school quarterback. He's got speed. He's got athleticism. High energy guy. His athleticism helped get Cincinnati on the board 1-0 here in the second. Now the man we talked about at the top, A.J. Bumpus, having a tournament to remember. Bumpus, who was a draft pick after his sophomore year, came back for his junior year. Numbers are a little bit down, and now as a senior, kind of scuffled from time to time, but he has had as good a tournament, if not better, than anybody else in this event.
Yeah, started off real hot, 4 for 4 the first day of the tournament, and then his first 2 at-bats the next game, he's 2 for 2. And look for them to run right here. You got a guy on base in Mercer that can fly. 20 for 28 in stolen bases. And you got Kirsten, a guy that's good at holding runners on quick to the plate. Who's going to win this battle?
Cincinnati, one of the top stolen base teams all year long in the American. Very aggressive. Only 1 for 3 this week as a team in the tournament. But really, Cincinnati's kind of a statistical anomaly anyway. If you look at them on paper, nothing says number 2 seed in this event. But nobody wants to play them right now.
This is the time you get hot.
A good place to do it in mid-90s heat. And as Bumpus goes down on strikes, Kirsten with his third punch out.
It's going to go ahead and say, you know what? You're looking fastball. I'll just throw you a little off speed. Got him way out in front. I said, did he really do that to me? Yeah, I guess he did.
8-hole hitter is the first baseman, Cole Murphy. Murphy, who has a younger brother on the team. His father also played at Cincinnati. Senior hitting .229 on the year.
Yeah, 2 for 5 yesterday, and Coach Guggen said he has been locked in lately.
Skies one into right center. And coming on is Fetko to make the catch. And the side is retired, but Weimer doubles, and then eventually some heads-up base running comes around to score the first run of the game.
Ain't nothing better than a night like this. No, there ain't nothing better than a night like
Welcome
this.
everyone to Omaha, Nebraska, home of the College World Series.
No, there ain't nothing better.
That's one way to get it started.
Ain't nothing better than a night like this.
It is caught. The 0-2. He got him.
No, there ain't nothing
Gets one to hit. Drives it to right. This one is gone. And the Beavers are on top of the college baseball world.
Oh, we're not that far off. It starts Saturday, June the 15th. One of my favorite times of year. The college baseball postseason, the selection show. There'll be a lot of nervous people, including people affiliated with a couple of teams in this conference. It'll be tomorrow at noon Eastern time on ESPNU. That's followed up by the regionals, the super regionals, and then the lucky 8 get to go to Omaha for the College World Series. One of these teams will be guaranteed a bid. Cincinnati, if they do make it again, they haven't made it since 1974. UConn is already in really good shape to get in for the 7th time this decade. It'll be Fetko, Winkle, and Langer. 6, 7, 8 due up for the Huskies here in the home half of the second. Hit on the ground to third. Santiago fired the first out here in inning number 2.
And for Orndorff, big shutdown inning. His team just gave him an early lead. He throws a 0 up there, settle the nerves of the rest of his ball club. Keep that momentum.
Now here's the other half of the Winkle brother contingent. Chris Winkle, he's the first baseman, the junior, hitting .251 on the year.
They call him the Condor of his wingspan at first base, picking those balls out of the dirt.
6'5", 225 out of Orange, Connecticut, Amity High School. Neither one of these teams was what you would label lethal at the plate this year.
Winkles felt good in this tournament. 4 for 8. Leads the team in hitting coming into this ball game. At least for the tournament, 500 in the tournament.
We mentioned the Winkle brothers. They also have another set of brothers, the Fetko brothers, one of which is starting today. You just saw Kyler. So Connecticut is the only team in the country to have 2 sets of brothers on the roster, and all 4 players get significant playing time. Cut on and missed. Orndorff with his 3rd strikeout. So both starting pitchers looking sharp here in the early going.
Third baseman number 41, David Langer.
The Rec Spec assassin does it again. And what's been working for him is that slider. Back foot slider gets him to swing over the top.
Two gone for Langer, the third baseman. Langer, the hitting hero a few days ago for the Huskies. Walk-off Tuesday against Houston. He had been struggling before the walk-off.
That was only his 2nd walk-off of his career. I asked him, I said, well, where was the freeze? My junior year of high school, he said it was the same hit. It was a base hit up the middle.
You never forget him.
And that was the first walk-off hit for UConn this year. They asked Jim Penders, they said, well, Coach, only one. He goes, well, we only played 19 home games.
Yeah, that's an amazing stat. I'm glad you brought that up. We talked about the cold weather for both these teams. UConn has had just 19 home games all season long. Contrast that with, say, a USF who had nearly 40. So, I mean, it's a huge disadvantage, but they kind of wear that like a badge of honor. Coach Penders preaches, hey, we're road dogs. We love going to hotels. We love going through TSA. We love eating on the road.
Oh, they're the ones.
It builds character. It builds toughness. And I think there's actually something to
Absolutely.
that.
When you go to regionals and you go on the road, it's going to come back in spades up for you.
Fisting another one foul is Langer, the bare-handed batter. One of the few left these days. Might need to do something with those bare hands right now.
Yeah,
all
the
that sweat coming down.
Absolutely.
It's been hot and muggy all week, and we're thankful for it. You know, last year, this event, they actually had to play the championship game on Saturday instead of Sunday because the weather was going to be too inclement on what was the scheduled time for the title game. And for much of the tournament, they played it on 2 fields. This one and the high school field beyond old Frenchie's Bar and Grill down the left field line. They had to get all the games in. 3-2 the count. So we're not going to complain about heat. Bottom line is there's been no rain, no delays of any kind, none expected today.
Not a drop all week of rain. Got it all out of the way last year.
We're at 89 now and climbing.
But a nice breeze.
And Langer coaxes a 2-out walk.
Smart hitter, smart student. 3.9 is his GPA, Mr. Langer.
Chiaviti is the starting center fielder, the 9-hole hitter. A junior with just 43 at-bats on the year and a 116 batting average on his resume. Takes one inside. Chiaviti out of Thomaston, Connecticut.
Actually tried out for East Carolina early in his college career, got cut.
Swing and a miss. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Chiaviti with a big 2-run double yesterday. Got him going offensively.
Yeah, you show me a team that's going to go far in the postseason. I'll show you a team that has some unlikely heroes.
Yes, absolutely. Well, think about it. We just named 2. Langer, now Chiaviti.
It's not just the meaty part of the lineup that you can rely on to keep winning games for you and putting up offensive numbers. You got to get some of those unexpected heroes from the bottom of the lineup that call the sudden heat up at the right time. That one off speed at 84 miles an hour.
Pitch counts could be something that we're going to definitely key on here today with the heat.
And with both these guys working on shorter rest than normal.
And talk about relief pitching, advantage clearly UConn. We've got some studs in that pen.
That goes back to what we alluded to earlier with Cincinnati and what a surprise team they have been. You know, a year ago, they finished right around 500. They lost their starting 3rd baseman, shortstop, 2nd baseman, catcher, outfield, 2 weekend starters, and their #1 bullpen guy. That is why they were predicted to finish last in the American. And here they are as the #2 seed in the championship game. That is a great coaching job by Scott Guggens.
There's a team up the road from here that lost that exact amount in those positions, the University of Florida. And out of that group, probably about 5 of them went inside the first 3 rounds.
And they've just developed a reputation of reloading in Gainesville.
Good young talent Kevin O'Sullivan has on that club.
This ball's hammered deep right field. A long run for Bumpus going back. It's off the wall. Rounding third and coming home is Langer and Chiaviti for the 2nd straight day with a big-time hit as the Huskies tie it up.
The once-cut player from East Carolina showing up big. Double yesterday, scoring a couple of runs. Big double right here as he takes a ball and takes it right off the wall. You said a very unlikely hero. Well, Chiaviti is making the case right here as one of the most valuable players in this tournament.
A guy with limited at-bats and hitting just over 100. And he's got 2 of the biggest hits in this tournament.
It's like Brian Doyle in the World Series with the Yankees.
See, you always go Doyle and I go Mark Lemke.
Okay. That is true.
Didn't matter what the Lemmer was hitting in the regular season. That guy amped it up in the postseason. As we're back to the top of the order for the 2nd time in Topa. Topa struck out against Orndorff back in the 1st. You go Disco, I go Godfather 2.
That's right.
We cover all the bases.
Well, Yankee fans will say, or actually Mets fans will say, okay, how about Al Weiss in 1969 against the Orioles?
That one I really have nothing for you.
It hit a big home run. Well, I was an Orioles fan growing up. It brought me to tears. Not in a good way.
I was not yet born. I was barely born the last time Cincinnati made the NCAA tournament. But far too young to really recall much about that season for the Bearcats. Go ahead, run in scoring position.
So we should have said Disco was just starting to come around. Godfather 2's in the theaters, and you were in diapers.
That's right.
Okay.
I'm glad you left that last part out. That's a visual nobody needs this Memorial Day weekend. 1-2 cut on and missed. 86 miles an hour and a right on by John Topa. He goes down 2nd time swinging. But an RBI double by Chiaviti ties it up for Yukon.
Well, you see Weimer, he's going to play the old guitar. Okay, I got it going. And then, hey, how about our guy down at the bottom of the order, Chiaviti, getting it done for Yukon. Oh, yeah, that's me. Okay, we're all hooked up. 1-1, here we go.
Yep. Set to go in the top of the 3rd here from Clearwater. American Championship game. Mike Morgan, Nick Belmonte. It's a 1-1 score. It'll be Jeremy Johnson starting things off, the 9-hole hitter for Cincinnati. Jeff Kirsten has been not only good but economical thus far. He's only thrown 28 pitches. The lone run came on a heads-up base running play by Joey Weimer, who made it from 2nd to home on what seemed like a harmless single off the bat of Jace Mercer. Johnson is the former Auburn Tiger. Cincinnati has 2 former SEC players in their starting lineup. Wyatt Stapp, the former Tennessee Volunteer, being the other.
Actually got to play against his old ball club this season.
And tore it up. Stapp did, I should say. Johnson with a base hit. Start things off here in the 3rd to left. Jeremy Johnson, the center fielder, trying to jumpstart the top of the 3rd in a 1-1 game, and back to the top of the order in Eric Santiago.
19 for 26 in stolen bases is Johnson, so keep an eye on him at first base.
All right, I'll throw another name at you, Nick Belmonte. I know you'll know this one. And it has to do with Eric Santiago, who's squaring and bunts it foul. You could say Eric Santiago is the Jose Oquendo of the Cincinnati team. And that
he plays everywhere. Exactly.
He has played every position but pitcher.
Yeah, didn't get the bat in front of home plate on that bunt attempt. Needs to show it earlier, get it out in front of home. Keep maintaining that angle.
Third baseman crashing in on the grass as that one is sliced foul. And now, do you take it off with 2 strikes?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. They went butcher boy there. They took it off with 1 strike, so I'm assuming they're going to take it off with 2 strikes. He didn't look good on the first bunt attempt. Cincinnati with only 15 bunts on the season.
That's how things have changed, isn't it? I mean, there was a time your leadoff hitter, you would expect him to be a pretty good bunter.
Now, Yukon, on the other hand, they bunt a lot. They have 39 successful sacrifices.
They don't get the bunt, but they do get the hit. Base hit to right field. Santiago 1 for 2, and the first 2 aboard here for the Bearcats in the 3rd. This week, the Sunday Night Baseball crew is in St. Louis for the series finale between the Braves and the Cardinals at Busch Stadium. Our coverage beginning at 6 o'clock Eastern on ESPN and the ESPN app with baseball tonight, Sunday night countdown. The Braves wasted a great performance by Soroka last night as the bullpen blew up again. Craig Kimbrell on line 2.
How about that? Mark Lemke's against the Jose Oquendos.
That's right.
There you go.
We've had a Lemke and Oquendo reference. And the Braves and Cardinals play tonight. That's called synergy, folks. Braves would like some synergy out of that shaky bullpen, but that's a story for another time as Joey Bellini stands in. The shortstop stroked a single to right his first time.
Yeah, foregoing the bunt right there with nobody out, runners at first and second. And why not? Bellini hitting 300 on the season, 14 doubles in that mix.
Bellini from Winter Park, Florida, played junior college ball last year. And the recruiting story is an interesting one because they had not seen Bellini in person. Cincinnati's coaching staff hadn't. They were here last year for the tournament, and while they were here, that's the first time they actually met Joey Bellini in person. And that's when the scholarship was officially offered, and Bellini accepted.
Yeah, Winter Park over near Orlando. But he played his JUCO at St. John's River in Palatka. Palatka's outskirts of Jacksonville. His coach was Ross Jones, the former Vanderbilt pitching coach and University of Florida pitching coach.
Again, if you're these two schools, you've got to be creative and you've got to be expansive in your recruiting. Near the dirt. Big time strikeout at a key time for Jeff Kirsten.
Yeah, nice slider, got him the bite. With 2 strikes, he opens up the strike zone, does Bellini, but chases one. Definite pitcher's pitch right there.
4th strikeout of the day for the right-hander.
Hey, Winkle did a nice job blocking that too. He saved 180 feet by corralling that one.
Here is Wyatt Stapp, the former Tennessee Volunteer. While he was with Tennessee last year, they played Cincinnati in a 3-game series. And in that series, Stapp had 6 hits. So Cincinnati was 0-2 familiar with what he could do. And he serves one to center here. That's going to dump down for a base hit and will likely score a run. Giovini loads up the throw, not in time. And Cincinnati has recaptured the lead.
Yeah, there was a question whether Johnson had tagged home plate. He scraped it with his hand going by. But a big hit right there. And coming around, here comes Johnson. And just watch what he does with his left hand. Is he going to get the corner? Yes, he does.
I didn't think that one was even close.
That's a good thing about making those adjustments when you slide near home plate. If he goes straight in, he's probably out, but he goes way to the outside and just reaches it with his fingers.
Well, I'll tell you who did think it was close, Jim Penders. He just went out to the home plate umpire, Grady Smith, who wants to make sure his mates saw it the same way he did.
They're going to check it out. The key here is his fingers literally on the base as he goes by, or were they raised? It looked from our vantage point on the replay that it was in fact on the base, on home plate.
This is the way they do it in the American. We'll go and check it out by the camera well on the third base side, get another look at it in slow motion. They'll see some of the same views we are here.
Yeah, that's the look that might be a little tricky right there to see, because his body actually blocks it out. But the other view right here is the one that's going to tell you is his fingers, and his whole palm of his hand slapped the base. And
Jim Penders had the first view, that because he's over there on the third base side. He didn't have the view that we saw in that second replay, which clearly he's safe.
Right. When he went by home plate, he just grabbed it with the palm of his hand.
So the one challenge Jim Penders and Yukon has been used. I like some of the conferences, including the SEC, of the two challenge system. I kind of like the one.
You got to make sure you use it correctly.
Make sure you don't use it haphazardly. You save it for a key play.
Yeah, the bench gets a little excited here. Look at that. I like it. They're going to toast. Look at that, the three-man toast on the head. That's outstanding.
That'll be you, me, and our stats man by the fifth inning or so. Back to Joey Weimer.
That bat with the cups on it almost seemed like a Joey Weimer creation from what I'm hearing.
Weimer doubled and scored his last time up. Look at that strike. Laces one into center field. Could have another play at the plate. Here comes the throw, and again Cincinnati sliding home safely. The Bearcats take a 3-1 lead. Have yourself a day, Joey Weimer.
The mullet masher gets it done one more time. And smart base running takes second base on the throw. Is a throw from the outfield, airmail to cutoff man. He's just hopping on this thing outer third, doesn't try to do too much with it, gets a base hit up the middle, and good base running all the way around.
That is what you would call a noisy swing. I mean, high leg kick, bat going way back.
And he's telling right there, go ahead and toast me.
Already bodies scurrying to the bullpen. Both bullpens on separate levels located out there in left center field.
Yeah, what's impressive what Cincinnati is doing, they get the early run, UConn answers, and they're like, so what, you answered? We're not even done. And you talked about this, Mike, how they've been hitting in this conference tournament way better than they have this season. They have really caught fire.
Caught fire at the right time.
Oh, yeah.
When no one really saw it coming.
I mean, just think about what's at stake here for Cincinnati. We know UConn's going to be in the tournament next week. This is, like you said, win, go to the first tournament since 1974, or go home.
Yeah.
I mean, that's huge pressure.
It's limited history with Cincinnati baseball. I mean, we're talking close to 45 years the last time they've been to the NCAA tournament. Of course, they didn't have super regionals back then. They've never been to Omaha. This would be a landmark event in the history of Cincinnati baseball.
Yeah, I remember when Cincinnati back in the 90s was playing in the Metro Conference.
You see what's going on, and we'll check in with some other games around the horn here today. ACC Championship in Durham, North Carolina. Georgia Tech having a breakthrough year, leading the Tar Heels 1-0 in the third.
Yeah, Danny Hall. What a great job he's done. The Yellow Jackets.
Yeah, they've had a down period, much like Georgia had a down period. Now Georgia and Georgia Tech are both back up, which is, frankly, where you would expect those programs with all the talent that comes out of that state.
Interesting right here, knowing that this game is going to be a scenario where Cincinnati's hot, they're going to go ahead and try to thwart another run here by bringing the infield in the third inning. You rarely see that in the third inning.
Holding is the batter, a strikeout victim his first time up. 1-1 strike the count. You know, go back to Weimer for a second. Joey Weimer, mentioned the great athlete, high school quarterback. He's one of those guys, he's good at everything. He doesn't even play golf. At a fall outing, the team got together and played. I can only imagine how violent his swing is in golf if it looks like that in baseball. Kid hits a hole-in-one.
I love it.
Probably never been to a driving range in his life. Some guys just have a knack. He's at second. 2 on, 1 out. Holding drives one high and deep to left field. Backing is Topa, looks up, and it is long gone into the Frenchie's Bar and Grill. And Cincinnati has broken this game wide open. 5th bomb of the year for Holding.
Wee. Another one at Frenchie's, same guy, twice in 1 week.
You can hear that one down under, back in his home nation of Australia. And look at that celebration. This was a team predicted to finish last in the conference, and they got a 5-run lead in the championship game.
I was talking to Scott Googins yesterday. We were talking about Holdings. He wasn't sure if he was going to start Holdings or Deanna behind the plate today. And I said, well, there you go.
And now the hits keep on coming. Mercer with a base hit down the line. He's 2 for 2. Cincinnati already with 9 hits.
Talk about the guy from down under. Watch him go down and get this. About thigh high, slider, hangs it. And he knew it. It might as well be the Eiffel Tower to him. He's going to remember Frenchie's the rest of his life.
Yeah.
He's the only guy that's done that twice in this tournament that hit Frenchie's.
You get like a
same guy.
Free burger, maybe some chicken tenders, or is that an NCAA violation? I don't know. I don't want to get him in any trouble here.
Well, I know in Durham, I don't know if you hit the bull, you win a steak.
You win a steak,
right?
yeah. Speaking of big bombs, this is the bomb from Mitch Holding on Thursday.
Same area.
One during nightfall, the other one during the early afternoon. Neither one of them were cheapies. Throw to second, tag is slapped down. Mercer is out. It's the one thing Cincinnati has not done well this season, excuse me, this tournament. They have done it well this season, but they're just 1 for 4 now in the tournament.
Yeah, let's look at his jump right here. He just didn't get a whole lot of ground on his first step. And as you can see, he's not running a straight line. He started off to the left. Now he's working his way back to the right. That adds to the distance.
Meanwhile, the hits keep on coming. That's the 10th Bumpus singles. And by my count, everyone in the starting lineup, with the exception of the man coming to the plate, has a hit. And they might be ready to tap into the bullpen. Jeff Kirsten starting to run out of steam.
Yeah, that ball was tailing away, and Bumpus really threw the barrel on it, pulled it to right field. Just the confidence is brimming with those Cincinnati Bearcat bats.
Cincinnati trying to pull off a huge upset and steal a bid from somebody in the upcoming NCAA tournament field. Better days for Jeff Kirsten, but not today. Cincinnati just too good so far. 6 runs on an eye-popping 10 hits already for Cincinnati. No errors. 1-2-0 for the Huskies here in this championship game, the 6th of its kind in the American Conference. And how about the 3rd inning for the Bearcats?
Yeah, it just starts off with Jeremy Johnson. He ends up scoring, and then it just keeps going from there. Hey, the 3-man toast, and then hold it to Frenchies for the 2nd time this week. Voila, 6-1 lead.
Cincinnati came into this game averaging over 9 runs a game in the tournament, and here they are. They've got 6 already in 3rd. They're going to bat around this inning.
Oh, that is a nice mullet.
Oh, it's strong. It's a strong mullet game. Cincinnati as a team, not everybody has a mullet, but there's been mullet mashing going on up and down the Bearcat lineup.
That's outstanding.
Look a little bit like Eric Burns.
Yeah, a little Burnsy look to him.
Got a Burnsy personality to him.
Oh, yeah. The effervescent one, Mr. Weimer.
New pitcher, Joe Simeone, the sophomore, in his 18th appearance.
Yeah, Simeone, 13th in relief. See the numbers. Power arm. But the thing when you think of UConn in the bullpen, you're thinking of Worcester and Wallace, the 2 back-end guys, as good as any 2 back-end guys in the nation. But they got to get it to them first.
Simeone looking for one key out here. Yeah, UConn, as you mentioned earlier, they've got a distinct advantage in the bullpen, but that becomes a moot point the way this game is going. Got to get some offense going and try to get a lead here. The Huskies have the top closer all year long in the American, and Jacob Wallace, who has a sub-1 ERA and 15 saves. So a lot of teams that are on the bubble, if they're not watching this game live, they are viewing the score, because if Cincinnati wins, a bubble team is going to be knocked out. This would be a definite bid steal situation from a team that only has one chance of getting in, and that is to win this game. And you see right now on the bubble, Texas State, BYU, Florida, UCF, Houston. This is according to our friends at D1Baseball.com.
They are all UConn fans today.
Huge. And 2 teams in this league, UCF and Houston, both on that bubble, they're pulling for UConn. The American Conference almost guaranteed 4 slots. Would love to get 5, but 4 would tie the high for this conference. Again, there's only 9 teams that play baseball in the American. The one team that was left out of this event, because they only take 8, that was USF. They fell on some hard times. And a great run with Mark Kingston, who's now the head coach at South Carolina. Swing and a miss. Murphy remains the only player without a hit in the starting lineup for the Bearcats, but 5 more on the board. Cincinnati on top, 6-1. We will have our annual Memorial Day triple header for you on ESPN tomorrow. It starts with Marlins Nationals at 1 p.m. Eastern Time, then Indians Red Sox, and finally the Dodgers playing host to the New York Mets. That's Memorial Day on ESPN and the ESPN app, so you can catch the games and watch the games anywhere. We are watching it here from beautiful Spectrum Field in Clearwater, Florida, alongside Nick Belmonte. Mike Morgan with you. Hope you're doing well on this holiday weekend. Cincinnati's doing very well. They lead at 6-1, trying to make history and make their first NCAA tournament since 1974, so 45 years. It'll be Prado, Woodworth and Winkle. Good spot in the order for UConn to slice into that 5-run deficit. 2-3-4. Prado's 1 for 1. Mentioned Prado is a senior captain.
And the job that he has to do right now, I'm sure Scott Guggens called him aside before he took the mound this inning. Said, hey, you know what? The runs are great. You're toasted and everything. That's all fun and games, but you got to go out there right now and throw strikes.
Right.
He's a strike thrower. Let your defense work for you. Don't nibble. No freebies. Big shutdown opportunity here after his team put up the big crooked number.
Takes one off the plate outside. 1 ball, 2 strikes. 50 pitches already under the belt of Orndorff. You know he's not going to go the distance. At some point that Cincinnati bullpen will play a factor in this game. Little looper over second and into center field. Prado's 2 for 2.
There's a lot of good hitters in this UConn lineup. Remember this, it may be 6-1, but UConn's only been up twice in this ball game.
Right.
A lot of game left to play. And it's all about throwing strikes. He does hang him one outer third, but he's able to barrel it up.
Here's the best of those hitters. Michael Woodworth in the 3-hole, walked his first time up. All 5'8" of them. Transfer from Sierra College. Woodworth in his senior campaign would like to be a part of a championship squad. You get a ring when you win your conference tournament. UConn won this event once. That was back in 2016.
Get himself a little bit of a hole as Orndorff here. He's got 2-0 count. Time to just challenge fastball. Make him put it in play.
Near ball 3.
This is going to sound crazy, but Scott Guggens would rather see him give up a home run here than another walk, because that would be the game plan. Throw strikes. Walk here is a recipe for disaster.
There is ingredient number 1 for that recipe. So 2 on, nobody out, and a dangerous Pat Winkle coming to the plate.
Yeah, you don't have to be Wolfgang Puck to figure this recipe out. He wants ground ball here to Scott Guggens. That'll make you go get a drink of water. I know that feeling. Just go get a drink of water. Your guy just walked a guy with a 5-run lead. Just go get a drink of water. Whether you're thirsty or not, you just, that's what you do.
I might do the same, and I'm not even stressed out.
And go, and then he sends out his pitching coach.
We talked about all that's on the line for Cincinnati. Not to pile on their lack of success in this event. Cincinnati, going back to their days in the Big East, they were 0 for 17 in conference tournament play. The last time they won a conference tournament game, forget about making it this far, was 2008. Of course, that was in the Big East. They were 0 for 17, and now they're trying to win their 4th straight game in this installment of the American Conference Tournament.
Yeah, that was AJ Heilman, or JD Heilman, I'm sorry, the pitching coach. He was the guy responsible for recruiting Ian Happ to Cincinnati.
Had a chance to do one of his games when they played Tennessee. Ian Happ was a terrific center fielder. And up and down an organization I know you're familiar with, the Chicago Cubs. In the same game, there was a guy playing the hot corner for Tennessee by the name of Nick Senzel, who's now up in the majors as well.
Yeah, playing center field. He was playing third base in college and a little bit of shortstop. They couldn't figure out a place to put him. You look at the bullpen. Yeah, no chances you want to take if you're Cincinnati right here.
Soft fly to left. Weimer coming on. Turns out to be an unproductive first out. By the way, if we're talking prominent alums, UConn has one that certainly sticks out. How about George Springer?
How about him?
He was part of that 2011 team that made it all the way to the Super Regionals. They lost to the eventual national champion South Carolina Gamecocks. Connecticut's had 4 first-round picks under Coach Penders, including Matt Barnes of the Boston Red Sox. Not just a bunch of scrappy guys. They've had some pretty good players. Springer was a hometown product out of the state of Connecticut that could have gone for the money out of high school, played in college, and then, of course, was a first-round draft pick after his junior year. He still holds most of the hitting and slugging records in UConn history.
How about Springer in the leadoff spot with 17 home runs?
Sad to see he just tweaked a hamstring and might be out for a while. He was on his way to a career year. Paul Gazzo, the designated hitter, 0 for 1. This will be pitch number 60 for Orndorff. 3-0, and now you start really getting that bullpen heated up in a hurry.
And we said that at the start of the inning. It's all about throwing strikes. He's already got 1 walk and on the verge of getting 2 in the span of 3 hitters.
Ball 4, bases loaded for UConn.
Right fielder number 3, Kyler Fedko.
And as a coach, you feel defenseless. There's Coach Heilman and Coach Guggens to the left.
Here is Kyler Fedko.
And the plan right here is throw the pitch that's going to entice the ball on the ground. Try to get out of this in 1 pitch.
Fedko, a freshman out of Gibsonia, Pennsylvania. Top of the strike zone, 1-1. I think the UConn contingent like that call.
A much needed strike now, because now you could possibly work breaking ball here, something that's going to go outer third away, and hopefully you're thinking he hits it on the ground.
Frozen on that pitch. It's 1-2. Well, those are 2 tough pitches to hit. You see at third, Prado. Woodworth at second. And at first, the DH, Paul Gazzo.
You bouncing one in the dirt here. Pressure will be on Holdings, the catcher, to keep it in front.
Wind still gusting to left field. Home run cut at that one.
Straight fastball is about as good a pitch as he's going to get.
Yeah.
And that should set up the breaking ball here. As a hitter, you go, wow, I missed it. But you got to forget about it. Expand the zone. As a hitter, you're thinking, okay, I just messed up a fastball. He's not going to groove me another one. He's probably going to go away. I'm thinking outer third away, something I could slap to right field. Doesn't mean he can't pull it if he hangs something, but that's not your thought process as a hitter.
In the air, short left. It'll be the shortstop giving way to the left fielder, Weimer. Big out for David Orndorff.
Yeah, huge one, because you fall behind with the bases loaded, then you come back and you make a pitch. This is a two-seamer that just rode in on him. Pitch was up, but out of the zone.
Orndorff trying to get out of a mess here in the third. Chris Winkle struck out his first time up.
Well, they need the condor here to get those arms going.
There's a line shot in the right center field, a base hit. This will play to pair. Prado scores. Woodworth behind him, and Yukon makes it a 6-3 game. First hit for the Winkle brothers.
And the 5th hit in 10 trips for Chris Winkle. The condor gets it done. He's sitting on fastball, gets it, drives it over to second baseman's head. I said it before, I'll say it again. RBIs win you games. 2-out RBIs win you championships, and that's what they need. They're back in it. So all that momentum that Cincinnati created, the base on balls cost them. Now UConn's got the momentum back.
And UConn was 0 for 5 with runners in scoring position before that hit. Fourth hit of the game for the Huskies as Weimer rips one and fouls it back.
When you get into these long innings on a hot day, that's where pitchers are going to make mistakes and leave pitches up. Cincinnati hoping he was able to get through that. He gave a little bit of false hope with those fly balls that got him out of trouble momentarily. But now's when you can really do some damage. Hot day. You're in pitch 60, whatever, and you're tired.
You know, and on top of that, and this won't sound much to fans of the Major League game, but Orndorff is working on 4 days rest. You go through a pattern all year long in the college game.
And let's throw on top of that 14 months past Tommy John.
Right. All year long, you're in a pattern. In his case, it's been most of the season, not all of it, because again, he started in the bullpen, but then eventually became your midweek guy. So he starts every Tuesday night. Then he starts every Friday night. But you have 6 days off in between starts. You don't have that luxury typically.
Absolutely not.
In a conference tournament. So it's hot, not that far off Tommy John. Out of his ordinary spot. And right now laboring in a key spot with 2 on, 2 outs. Another ball sliced foul off the bat of David Langer.
I think right now Jim Penders is going to go ahead and try to get something going with Winkle, the runner at first base. Look for him to be in motion here, whether it be a straight steal or even a delayed steal.
Certainly would not count this UConn team out. They know a thing or two about playing in meaningful games. As consistently good as any team in this league this decade. For that matter, going back a few years in their Big East days. All these players on the UConn roster, with the exception, of course, of the freshmen, have played in the postseason. They're excited. They're getting a new ballpark, Elliott Ballpark, next year. They've been playing in what is virtually a glorified high school stadium now for a long, long time. Because it's so cold up there, they usually don't get to play or even practice on their home field until well into the season. It's actually a grass field, so you can imagine grass in March in Storrs, Connecticut. It's not like you have a Major League Baseball grounds crew to keep it manicured.
It'd be a little crunchy, wouldn't it?
A little bit.
Yeah. How about Orndorff right there, though? 72 pitches, that last one at 91. So maintaining the velocity. But a tough hitter in Langer, hanging around, fouling off pitches, getting that pitch count up. He's already won the at-bat, in my opinion.
Two on, two outs, and another 2-2 pitch is popped up. Mercer on the back pedal, puts it away. Side retired. Yukon cuts into the lead. A big 2-run single by Winkle. 6-3 our score as we head to the fourth. Cincinnati on top 6-3. Top of the fourth about to unfold. And as we're joined now by the UConn head coach Jim Penders in his 16th year. Coach, a good job of cutting back into that deficit with a big 2 spot. But Jeff Kirsten today, I know he's been big for you this season, struggled a bit, particularly in that 3rd inning.
Yeah, he just didn't have his stuff. You know, he left missed a couple spots, and they hit him. You got to give Cincinnati credit. I mean, they had their hitting shoes on with him in there, and just time to make a switch. Obviously, didn't have it, giving up the 10 hits there. He didn't give any walks, but he's getting hit hard.
Jim, we know guys at the back end like Caleb Worster and Jacob Wallace. I mean, they're as good as it gets at college baseball. Are you going to stretch them out if need be today?
Yeah, I mean, if we can have a lead in the 6th inning, you're going to see Dandino and Worster and Wallace for sure. I mean, the key is we got to get a couple more back here and quickly.
Coach, just final question for you. You look to be in great shape to make it to the NCAA tournament, regardless of what happens today. You've had a lot of success of getting teams there. How does this team stack up with some of your better ones?
Oh, it's a gritty, tough team. I don't know if I could have said that 2.5 weeks ago. We've been kind of scuffling and kind of hanging on, and now the last 10 days or so, we've really kind of developed into a really tough team. And it's not the most talented team we've had, but you can go a long way with toughness and resilience.
Coach, we appreciate the time.
Thanks, guys.
Jim Penders, in his 16th year, done an incredible job with that Huskies program. Former catcher for the Huskies. I didn't realize, you know, there's a couple-year gap. You look at his resume, and I always knew that he played at UConn and then was a GA and an assistant coach before becoming the head coach. But there's that 2-year window, and I just assumed as there's a ground ball base hit, they keep on coming. That's 11 now for Cincinnati, the 2nd for Jeremy Johnson. But how about this, Nick Belmonte? Jim Penders, after he finished playing, was not drafted, didn't play pro ball. For 2 years, he was working for a U.S. senator, then decided, like so many of us, he didn't like politics. I want to get back into baseball. He made
more fun.
Yes.
Yeah.
Made a few phone calls. There was an opening for a GA position.
And he played for the great Andy Baylock, great coach at Connecticut for many years.
But you talk about paying your dues. He's done it.
Yeah.
And, I mean, in so many ways, he is UConn baseball. Great player, assistant coach, and now a head coach that has taken this program to uncharted waters and uncharted heights.
I was talking to Jim Penders about some of the former players in the program. Coach Andy Baylock had an outfielder named Todd Rosenthal, who played for me when I managed in Salt Lake City. And Rosie was a heck of a hitter. And I said, what's Rosie doing now? And he says, he's in a rock band touring Europe. I said, that sounds like him.
Good.
Said, yeah, he says he comes by the program now and then.
Santiago 1 for 2. Looks at strike 1.
Yeah, but Coach Baylock had a lot of good players come through there. Jim Penders obviously being one of them.
golfed into short right. Fedko coming on. He'll handle it for the first out.
Shortstop number 2, Joey Bellini.
Some more activity. The Cincinnati bullpen is reeling.
And that's going to be the story of this ball game. Whose bullpen is going to emerge as the best?
Shanley warming up right now for the Bearcats. It's all hands on deck if you're Cincinnati. They know one thing to be true. If they lose this game, their season is done. Yukon has a little more leeway. They're already projected to be into the field as the number 2 seed. D1 baseball has them in Nashville right now. They would have to, in all likelihood, knock off one of the best teams in America, the Vanderbilt Commodores. If that holds up, who knows? It's always
pretty fluid,
somewhat unpredictable. I like what they've done the last couple of years, where they seeded 1 through 16. I thought it was really slighting the game of baseball to just do brackets based purely on geography.
I agree. Yeah, earn it.
Earn it, yeah.
Yeah, don't get penalized because you're near a regional that's really difficult to win just because you're close.
Well, you think of all those good UCF and more recently a couple of good USF teams. Had they been able to just get out of the state of Florida, not having to keep going to Gainesville and Tallahassee.
I'll give you a perfect example, Florida Atlantic.
Yes, it's another one.
John McCormack, great job he does there.
That's outstanding.
Look at the top 10. You can see East Carolina in the mix.
East Carolina really could have used another win here.
So surprising to me, Louisville's showing in the the ACC tournament because they are a talented team. They could win it all.
Yep.
They only scored a couple of runs in Durham.
East Carolina's going to be sweating it tomorrow at noon, our selection show on ESPNU. That, to me, when very often you'll hear the question in golf, who's the best golfer to never win a major? If I were to pose the question, what's the best program to never make it to Omaha? East Carolina is right near the top.
Absolutely, and they've been a team that's been to a super, won regionals.
Multiple supers.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I mean, great fan base, great facilities. They've had some great coaches roll through Greenville. Their fans travel. I mean, there's so much going for that program, and I think we've mentioned this a few times already. This is a really good baseball league that doesn't get the attention as some of the other ones in the Power 5 or Power 6, depending on how you want to label it. At some point, ECU is going to break through. They're going to get to Omaha. I wouldn't be surprised if some point Yukon doesn't break through and get to Omaha.
That's total dominance of this conference.
Of course, Tulane has been to the World Series. So has Houston. UCF has flirted with it. Wichita State's won a national title. That's the newest addition to the American, and what a great addition it is. I mean, you want to talk about a program with some history now.
Yeah, and look, Todd Butler's club did a great job here this week. They made it to yesterday's game. They beat East Carolina twice and 3 times total this season.
And they're very young.
Very young.
Look out for the Shockers next year.
Absolutely. Yeah, they've really played good baseball here in Clearwater this week. That's how it looked.
Stapp takes one in the dirt. Simeone trying to work with some traffic on the diamond here in the 4th. Cincinnati just keeps coming at you, don't they?
They're all confident hitters right now, Mike. They can't wait to get up there. They're seeing the ball well. They love the ballpark. You're just feeling good at the plate. It's contagious. They got the epidemic going here with that offense.
Johnson and Bellini aboard. Pitch is a fastball strike. Johnson, Carl Johnson, warming up in the Huskies bullpen. A kick in the 1-1. We thought with Kirsten and Orndorff, two guys who are some of the better starters that each of these staffs have, this might be a lower scoring game, at least in the early go. It's not panned out that way. We already had 9 runs and 15 hits combined. Little blooper. That's going to get down for a base hit. Johnson flying around third. He will be there without a throw. 7th run of the game for Cincinnati. 2nd run batted in for Wyatt Stapp.
And these rebound runs are backbreakers for UConn. Finally get a 2-spot up and they answer right back. He goes down and gets that one. Nice piece of hitting.
That'll be all she wrote for Simeone.
I'll tell you what, Cincinnati is starting to feel it in that dugout. I mean, you're obviously, even though UConn came back, Cincinnati's a looser team. You can just see it with the toast bats and all that they're doing. They're just having a good old time.
Top of the 4th, Cincinnati leading by 4 and looking for more. Now our next 30 for 30 film is entitled Qualified and tells the story of Janet Guthrie, the first woman to qualify for the Indianapolis 500 and the Daytona 500, which she accomplished in the mid-70s of a male-dominated American sport, stands as a testament of her determination and skill. It'll premiere Tuesday at 8 Eastern on ESPN. I haven't been disappointed by a 30 for 30 yet. And that's been going on for over 10 years. Mike Morgan, Nick Belmonte, we've been going on even longer than that, calling postseason college baseball. This one's been a fun tournament thus far, and Cincinnati trying to make history. They've not won this event, and they've never been to the NCAA tournament since 1974. They'll try to tack on some more insurance against one Carl Johnson.
Yeah, Carl Johnson, 23rd appearance. The bugaboo, you look at those stats, it's the 28 walks and 32 in the 3rd innings, but he does have the power arm, 92-mile-an-hour fastball, good tight late break on the slider, but he's the guy that you bring in when you need an unproductive out, say, i.e. strikeout, and that's why he's brought in here.
Aaron Sabato, who's one of the best power hitting freshmen in the country, just hit a 2-run bomb for North Carolina. Get to know that name, folks. He's special. So the Tar Heels leading 3-1 over Georgia Tech in the ACC Championship game. Here in the American, it's Cincinnati leading UConn 7-3. Joey Weimer, who's been bullying the baseball of late, already a double and a single today. That one spiked in the dirt, and another run will score. Inauspicious start to the outing for Johnson.
Yeah, his 8th wild pitch of the year. When you need a strikeout and an unproductive out, that just compounds the problem, because now you got a runner at second base, and that run just scored. First pitch just holds onto it way too tight. Not a whole lot Winkle can do with that one.
Every UConn arm that comes out today is going to have to navigate through a lineup that everybody has been scorching the baseball this entire week.
And Mike, here's Jim Pender's dilemma. We talked about it when we spoke to him. He's got 2 of the best back-end guys in the college game right now. But when can he put them in? You know, these guys have to be the bridge guys and do their job if they're going to win this ball game.
Right. Now, if they were in the same shoes as Cincinnati, where you have to win to get in, we might already see those guys.
Absolutely, correct.
We probably would.
Why
but,
not? Yeah.
But for a team that's already pretty much punched its ticket to the tournament, I don't think you're going to see the likes of Jake Wallace and some of the other top arms when you're down 5 runs.
Especially knowing you're feeling good about you're going to be playing next week.
High chop. Johnson collects and tosses to first for the out. Third on the play is Stapp.
What a productive one, especially with a guy that's got 8 wild pitches. You move your runner over to third base.
Every time I see Joey Weimer take a full swing, I feel like I need to go to the chiropractor and get an adjustment. I mean, he's not going to get cheated, is he? There's a lot of moving parts.
He takes the driver out of the bag, doesn't he?
Yes. Grip and rip. Now Mitch Holding has been taking the driver out, and he smokes another one. RBI hit for Holding when the home run his last time up. He's 2 for 3.
Good on you, mate. The Melbourne, Australia native. I asked him if he played cricket. He goes, I tried it, because that's a big sport where he's from. And he said, I was terrible at it. But he's not terrible at this. He knows how to play this game. This is a guy that came in this game hitting 190, but leading the team in on-base percentage.
Seeing more and more Aussies in the college game the last few years. Now Jace Mercer. 6-run lead for Cincinnati. We're in the 4th. Four runs batted in today for the Aussie Mitch Holding. Driven in 4 of the 9. 13 hits for Cincinnati. Yeah, a lot of shots of water going to be consumed today for Cincinnati.
If this keeps up, they're going to be waterlogged. Yeah. Quickly 3-0, and Jim Penders is going, okay, what's my next move?
Think of Cincinnati, I think that the sport that first comes to mind is basketball. They've been good in that sport for so long. Football, they've had bits and pieces of success the last couple of decades, but I mean, baseball has not resonated in a long time. Again, this is the kind of win. This goes on the front of the media guide next year. Picture of the ring. You get basketball would be a banner, and baseball is going to be somewhere over there at Marge Schott Stadium, displayed prominently. All these players will be able to say they've been part of history. I've always thought there's something more special about being on a team that does something that's never been done, as opposed to just picking up a tradition that's already in place.
Yeah, like you said, that or being the first in history. Well, they'd be the first in history if the score holds of winning this conference tournament. A tournament that they have not done well when they've been here.
Right. They were 0 for their last 17 in conference tournament games coming into this event. I think a lot of people saw Cincinnati, a team that came in under 500 as a number 2 seed, and said, they're not really a number 2 seed. They're not going to have a chance of winning this event. They just continue to prove people wrong. Bumpus has one low inside, 2-1.
Bumpus is the guy that, the saxophone player. I asked him, I said, okay, so who's your favorite saxophone player? Kenny G was the answer. He said he was the guy that inspired him to play the saxophone.
It's not every day you hear Kenny G and inspiration in the same sentence. Ground ball right side. Nice job. Good range shown there by Woodworth, and a nice job by Winkle holding onto the bag at first. So a good defensive play gets UConn out of the inning. But again, Cincinnati sends 8 to the plate, 3 more on the board. Bearcats on top 9-3. Mike Morgan, Nick Belmonte with you in Clearwater. Cincinnati leading UConn 9-3 in the 4th as we check in with Cincinnati head coach Scott Googins in his 2nd year. Coach, I'm looking at that scoreboard and I see 9 runs, 13 hits. I've seen an average of over 9 runs a game. And I look at the numbers for the year. You guys were pretty pedestrian offensively. How has it all come together here this week?
I think it's the hot weather. You know, I think it's 91 degrees. It was 98 yesterday. I got the bats hot. No, our guys, you know, we've been working at it all spring, and you know, the hard work's been paying off this week.
Coach, I know last night you and I were talking about whether you're going to start the in or Holdings behind the plate. Obviously, you got to be happy with your decision, A. And is Mitch Holdings going to open up a Frenchie's back in Cincinnati next week?
I hope he does. I hope he gets another Frenchie's here in a bit. But he's doing a good job. Obviously, he got cramps yesterday. We were really worried about whether he could play or not. But he's doing okay so far.
What kind of kid is Joey Weimer? We've certainly looked at his antics the last few days, but tell us what he's like in the clubhouse.
He's a great kid. He's very flamboyant, but again, that play where he scored, you can't coach that. You know, he came around and they were back, you know, thrown behind, and he just kept going. He's a ball player, and that's again, he's a great kid, great student, a big part of our success.
Coach, when you look at this program, we've mentioned it a number of times, hadn't been in the postseason since '74, had lost 17 consecutive conference tournament games. When you took this job from Xavier, I'm sure there was some doubt. I'm sure there were some people that said, you don't want to go to Cincinnati. They haven't won there in a while. What changed your mind in terms of thinking you could be successful here?
It was a new challenge, new opportunity. Again, they've got a great, we have a great stadium, great facilities, great resources. It's an awesome conference. Again, every team in this conference is good. We got great coaches in this conference. It was just a new challenge. It was a new opportunity for me. And again, I'm blessed and thankful to have you know, these guys in the dugout with me, because it's a great group, and they're playing hard, playing well. We're playing together, and it's a lot of fun. We got a lot of game left. I know we've got a big lead. We just need to score some more, I think.
Speaking of the lead, 6-run lead, 6-run lead right now. Take us through what you got with Orndorff. How many innings could we expect out of him, and what's your bullpen setup with?
He's done. He ran out of gas. He gave us all he had. That's what it gave us a great start. And that's what seniors do.
Yeah.
We've got Shanley right now. He's going to you know, go as long as he can. He's got an electric arm. So our bullpen is ready to go. Hopefully we don't need to get dipped too much more into it.
Well, Coach, we'll let you dip back into the dugout and remain focused here. Thank you so much for the time.
Appreciate it, fellas. Thanks.
You got it. Cincinnati head coach Scott Googins in his 2nd year. He basically built up the Xavier program, got them to NCAA tournaments, and the job at Cincinnati is basically to do the same, to take a school that has not had success in a long time and bring them to a new spot, and that's what he's trying to do here today as we get a look at the pitcher Shanley that he just mentioned.
Yeah, we were talking to coach and realized that Orndorff got pulled and Shanley's in. And Orndorff pretty much did his job, got him to the middle of the ball game. And with that lead right now, just trying to piece it together and get a couple innings per guy.
To shortstop. And they'll get 1 and almost 2. I thought that was so slow developing that there would only be a chance at 1. The struggles continue for John Topa in this tournament. He's 0 for 3 today. Senior has not been able to reach so far today, as Prado will come to the plate 2 for 2.
Well, with the big lead, you only worry about getting the 1. You don't want to be throwing it away, and that's how you got to play it right now. You got to play heady. Know that you have the lead. Get them 1 at a time when it comes to those double plays.
Pitcher Garrett Shanley, as you heard Coach mention, he's a hard thrower. That one hitting 93 on the gun. 6'5", 185-pound sophomore out of Fort Wayne, Indiana, Northrop High School. Anthony Prado Single to right, single to left. The only UConn guy in the lineup with multiple hits today. The Huskies have just 4 hits as a team. Off the plate outside, 3-0. We've had a lot of 3-ball counts in this game.
Yeah, and the big lead is all about throwing strikes. Shanley, low 90s guy, good curveball. Has a good move to first, but can't see UConn pushing the envelope on the base stealing department at this point.
There's a strike. Into this game. We're in the bottom of the 4th. Prado has reached for the 3rd time today now with the base on balls, and that'll bring up Michael Woodward. So you're at that part of the lineup again where if you're going to make a divot into this 6-run deficit, now's the time.
And you can't go chase anything because Shanley came into this game with 49 walks on the season. Came into the game with that. So you know this guy can give it up quickly. You just have to be patient, wait for your pitch. If you get it, if he wants to walk you, let it go.
Enjoyed our conversation really with both coaches. You and I have gotten to know Jim Penders over the years.
Sure.
First chance to chat with Scott Guggens now in his 2nd year with Cincinnati. This tournament now in year number 6 has been dominated by the same 3 teams: Houston, East Carolina, and UConn. Every year they're in the finals, and only those 3 teams have won this event thus far. And Cincinnati trying to buck that trend as well. Woodworth a couple of walks. 2 on, 1 out. Breaking ball misses low. At 2 o'clock here on the East Coast. Mike Morgan, Nick Belmonte here at Spectrum Field in beautiful Clearwater, Florida. Another hot day and a hot team with a 6-run lead in the championship game. Cincinnati trying to make its first trip to the big dance since 1974. The Bearcats with a 5 spot in the 3rd, a 3 spot in the 4th to really break this game open, but by no means is it over. A lot of baseball to be played. Attrition, normally a key part of any championship game in a conference tournament. And the deeper bullpen actually belongs to UConn, the team that's trailing.
Yeah, just being patient at the plate can get you right back in this ball game for UConn.
Popped him up. Near second, gliding over and making the catch, battling the sun, is Mercer.
Infield fly rule called.
Catcher number 43, Pat Winkle.
Now the cleanup man, the freshman Pat Winkle. Winkle's 0 for 2. Remember, it was his brother Chris Winkle that had the big 2-run single in the 3rd. This Winkle's going to be a high draft pick in a couple of years. Mentioned the Yankees were very high on Pat Winkle, but then found out that Pat was a guy that was ticketed for college, did not really want to sign right out of high school, they still did what a lot of pro teams do, threw a courtesy pick in the late rounds just in case.
Just in case. You never know.
If Connecticut loses this game, obviously the pitching will have something to do with it. They did not get one of their better outings from Jeff Kirsten, but they'll also look at wasted opportunities. Just 1 for 8 in this game with runners in scoring position. Another spot here. The runner at second.
Yeah, it's all about those 2-out RBIs. Another opportunity. A run or two here, momentum right back in the Yukon dugout. See if he gets him to chase here. Breaking ball, get him to chase away. And it's okay if they put it in play. Strikeout not imperative. Got to force it any base in a 6-run lead with 2 outs. Just don't want to nibble and end up walking him.
Back with the fastball, and I'm not sure what Winkle was looking for. Does not pull the trigger, and a big strikeout to end the inning. We're through 4. Cincinnati up by 6.
Ain't nothing better than a night like this. No, there ain't nothing better than a night like this.
Welcome everyone to Omaha, Nebraska, home of the College World Series.
No, there ain't nothing better.
That's one way to get it started.
Ain't nothing better than a night like this.
It is caught. The 0-2. He got him. Gets one to hit. Drives it to right. This one is gone. And the Beavers are on top of the college baseball world.
Oh, it's right around the corner, isn't it? Postseason selection show tomorrow at noon. And before you know it, we will be back at TD Ameritrade College World Series in Omaha. Mike Bork and Nick Belmonte in the meantime here in Clearwater, Florida, site of the American Championship game. It's Cincinnati on top 9-3, trying to make some history in that program. The new pitcher for the Huskies is Kenny House, and Nick, he'll try to do something that nobody's been able to do in this tournament, and that's consistently get the Bearcats out.
Yeah, they got to get on a roll here with their pitching staff. Throw some zeros up there and let their offense go to work. Because you know UConn's going to score some runs. It's not going to end with this score. But they got to stop Cincinnati right now because they're a ball of confidence. House is a guy who comes in his 11th appearance, 6 in early, 23 1/3 innings, 31 hits, 22 runs, 18 of those have been earned, 9 walks, 15 Ks.
Cole Murphy has got to be feeling left out. He's the only Cincinnati Bearcat in the starting lineup without at least 1 hit.
Yeah, you feel like you're at a party you haven't been invited to.
And he's not going to get one here. Pop up to third. Langer battling that sun, hauls it in.
What Jim Penders is trying to do, he's trying to get this somehow to the 6th inning. Then he can bring in Worcester. Then he can bring in Wallace. But in the meantime, he can't sit there and have a 6-run lead turn into a 7- and 8-run lead for Cincinnati.
Well, they haven't had a shutdown inning since the first. Jeff Kirsten, who was the starter, wound up facing the minimum thanks to a double play in the first inning. Since then, the Cincinnati offense has had multiple base runners in every inning.
Yeah, they answered the 1 run in the second with a 5 spot, and they answered the 2 run that UConn put up in the third with a 3 spot. So just total momentum swings.
Jeremy Johnson wears one on the upper back, so he'll take first. He's on for the 3rd time in this game. Johnson, the former Auburn Tiger. While on the subject,
what number are you wearing? There it is.
I mentioned Johnson, the former Auburn Tiger. The Auburn community lost not only a very talented announcer, but a great man late yesterday. Rod Bramlett, longtime voice of the Auburn Tigers, was killed in a car crash along with his wife. Just stunning news. I found out when we got back to the hotel. Rod was 52. His wife Paula, excuse me, was 53. And it was just a matter of a couple days ago. He was calling an Auburn win in the SEC tournament. I saw him just a couple weeks ago calling an Auburn series against Alabama. I've known Rod for 20 years. Great guy, tremendous talent. Fantastic play at shortstop and a double play. Turned in by Prado to Woodward to Winkle. Highlight of the day, no doubt, for the Huskies. We'll see if that can spark some energy at the plate. UConn needs some runs. They trail at 9-3.
You need an out. You need to get out inning with a 0. You see it right here. Prado lays out. This could be a game changer if they end up coming back and winning this ball game. We'll have to see. It starts with defense. Let's see if the offense could get it cranked and then inspire them.
We will have our annual Memorial Day triple header for you on ESPN tomorrow. It starts with Marlins Nationals at 1, then Indians, Red Sox, and finally the Dodgers hosting the Mets. That's Memorial Day on ESPN and the ESPN app. Philadelphia Phillies share the same division as the New York Mets. The Phillies, there's been a resurgence. Wasn't that long ago? They won the World Series championship back in 2008. And then shortly after that, the Phillies went through kind of a rebuilding time frame. A lot of contracts needed to go bye-bye. A lot of young players, and now gone are the likes of Jimmy Rollins and Chase Utley. Now it's names like Rhys Hoskins and, of course, one Bryce Harper.
They can swing the bat at Phillies club now. Realmuto, great guy behind the plate.
Yeah, it's a great pickup. Kind of the catching free agent gem of the market. Gazzo cuts and misses quickly down on the count. 0-2. It'll be Gazzo, Fedko, and Winkle. Sounds like a good law firm, doesn't it? Who's handling the case? I got Gazzo, Fedko, and Winkle on my side, so things are going to be all right.
I got Jackie Childs. So you know
that's not a fair fight.
You know there's going to be media.
Yeah, that's true. There on an 0-2 pitch, Gazzo goes down. Shane Lee gets the strikeout. And I tell you what, this ballpark historic in a lot of ways as we take another look at the strikeout.
Yeah, he's getting ready to go fastball. He sees breaking ball and he can't stop his swing. Frustrating for a hitter.
One out for Fedko. I mentioned this ballpark has been the spring training home of the Phillies for about a half a century. When you think of all the teams that have migrated either to Arizona or other parts of South Florida, that's significant. There's so much movement of late in spring training. It's hard to remember who's playing where anymore. The Braves are about to follow suit with that. They're about to leave Orlando Kissimmee and head out to the west coast of Florida.
I'm not sure exactly the year they built this stadium, but prior to that, it was Jack Russell Stadium, which still exists. If you head down Coachman, which is a road down the street, and just keep going, you'll see Jack Russell.
But there's really no desire for anybody involved with this conference to move this event. You've got a great city, a terrific ballpark. I think if you want fans to go and take time out of their week and Memorial Day weekend to go see a conference tournament, It helps if you're in a destination city. You've got the beach nearby. So you've got a lot to offer here in this spot. So I don't think, it's been 6 years, I don't think it's going to be moving anytime soon.
And if you want to take the trip to Disney, it's not that far away.
Yeah. And if you need a good restaurant guide, just call Nick Belmonte.
I got you covered.
He's the mayor of this area.
That's right.
He's not going to pick up the tab, but he'll tell you where to go.
Not sure with how that all goes in. Tell you where to go. Tell you where to dine.
I mean, he might join you for a meal and grab a few things off your plate, but he's not going to pick up the tab. That's okay.
I'll sing for my supper, though. Buy me dinner.
Payoff pitch due to Kyler Fedko. There's 0 for 2. Rocketed in the center, but the catch is made by Johnson. Well, sometimes life just isn't fair. One of the harder hit balls today for UConn, and nothing more than a noisy out.
A good restaurant for you. Go to Ava, Joe Madden's restaurant at Hyde Park in the Tampa area. Yeah.
Well, now this could have come in handy last night.
I should make sure I pronounce it right. It's Ava. Joe opened up a new restaurant in Chicago this summer.
No free apps for you after that plug. Chris Winkle, hit of the day for UConn. 2-run single his last time up.
Well, what Shane Lee's doing now is exactly what Scott Googins wants. Just throw up zeros, eat up innings. We have the 6-run lead. Because you know, in the back of Scott Googins' mind, he knows Wallace and Worcester are looming in the pen. So he's thinking to himself, okay, when those guys come in, the chances of us scoring beyond 9 runs, not very good. But if I can get my middle guys here to keep throwing zeros, all the better.
Two and one. At no point, forget about walks. You don't even need to be thinking 3-ball counts.
Right.
If you're Garrett Shanley at this point, you got a 6-run lead. You're in the 5th. He's got good enough stuff where he can challenge hitters and not feel bashful about it.
I mean, if he wants to bounce him a breaking ball, get him the chase here, that's fine. But on 3-2, you just come back with a straight fastball. You throw a strike right here in the plate, you got an 80% chance of getting it done. That's why as a hitter right here, you're still battling. You got to figure out a way to get on base, get something going. Change this momentum.
And that one did not hit the target. One Mitch Holding.
You just want to say, hey, here it is, hit me, 3-2 here. No 2-out walks with a 6-run lead. Forget about that. Man, I'm surprised he went breaking ball there. Really am.
So Cincinnati flirted with what would have been the first 1-2-3 inning of the game.
Those 2-out walks, they turn into more runs than people think.
Here's David Langer hitting in the 8-hole today, the third baseman. Langer, a junior out of Berkeley, California.
He had a 2-out walk back in the second.
transferred from UC Davis. As I mentioned earlier, one of 7 Californians on the roster for UConn, and they continue to tap into that pipeline. This helps when you have an assistant coach that has ties to a different region of the country. So he's going to be able to have eyes and connections on players that you ordinarily wouldn't be able to even talk to, much the less sign. When the bracket came out for this 6th annual American Athletic Conference Championship, we knew one thing: we were going to have some new blood, because the 3 teams that always seem to be in it, featured right there with those banners, UConn, East Carolina, Houston, they were all on the same side. So somebody out of the other side had to make it. Memphis, Cincinnati, UCF, or Tulane. Turned out it was Cincinnati. I'll say this too. You and I do a lot of games in the quote-unquote South. That being said, I think it's good to see an influx of northern teams having success in college baseball. It's only good for the growth of the sport.
Well, this year I've had Indiana. It's a fine program that Jeff Mercer's got going there. And
made it to Omaha not long ago.
Eric Bakich at Michigan.
Fly into right, it's got some spin on it, and it fools the second baseman Mercer, and it'll drop. Mercer and Bumpus were converging on it, and it might have been better for Bumpus to make that play.
Nonetheless, they're both looking up directly into the sun overhead, and I'm sure that played into it. But as you said, you want the guy with all the momentum coming in, the outfielder making that catch, but he didn't even look like he was that close. But when he looked up finally, Mercer looked like he lost it in the sun, and so far that 2-out walk could be rearing its ugly head here.
That is why if you ever come to a ballpark early or watch a practice the night before a series, you see teams working on that type of play, those pop-ups. Just ask Arkansas how important making a play like that is. I mean, they were knocking on the door of a national title. On a ball and foul ground. Play is not made. Oregon State winds up winning the national championship. To deep short. No chance at first. One will score, and they're at first and second. So UConn taking advantage.
Yeah, Christian Fetko, pinch hitter, comes up. The brother of Kyler. And what happens? The 2-out walk? Scores. For the second time in this ball game, a 2-out walk scored. This is placed perfectly to the backhand side. Bellini, really nothing he can do with it. Throwing it from short left field. But that's a big RBI.
So Christian Fetko becomes the first Fetko to get a hit today. We've got 2 Fetkos and 2 Winkles in the lineup now for UConn. The only team in the country with 2 sets of brothers. Back to the top of the order, and this guy's due. John Topa is too good of a player to have this bad of a tournament.
Yeah, 7 Ks in the tournament, hitting somewhere around 150 now, but he's the heart and soul of this ball club. He's their captain. He's their leader. He's the guy.
He's got his name all over the American Conference record book because he's been in it all 4 years. He got 9 hits as a freshman here, 4 as a sophomore, 6 as a junior, but he's only got 2 in this, his 4th trip to Clearwater. That is some serious next level John Topa stats.
They're saying Topa's the only guy in the club that wears eye black. I would think you would need it here in Clearwater this week.
Topa 2 for 14 with 7 strikeouts in this tournament.
I see a green light him here. Got a home run power.
I'll go with it. Well, Shane Lee is making things way too interesting for the taste of Cincinnati.
Yeah, we'll never know if the take was on. That was clearly out of the zone, right out of the chute. And this all started with the dreaded 2-out walk.
Dreaded 2-out walk, and then a pop-up that could have been caught, was not caught, and now all of a sudden things getting interesting here in Clearwater.
Yeah, Nathan Moore heating up, and Coach Heilman just trying to settle down his pitcher here.
I think every waterfall starts with a single drop.
Yes, it does.
It was in my fortune cookie the other night. This week, the Sunday Night Baseball crew is in St. Louis for the series finale between the Braves and the Cardinals at Busch Stadium. Coverage beginning at 6 p.m. Eastern Time on ESPN and the ESPN app, with baseball tonight, Sunday night countdown. Braves got a good-looking young team. St. Louis in a very competitive division. Austin
Riley.
Yes, you're going to know that name for a long time. He's a different kind of power hitter.
I don't mean to Owen Wilson you there, but wow.
Yeah. Shoo. To quote Owen. Riley was actually committed to play baseball at Mississippi State. From the state of Mississippi, turned down the scholarship and wound up taking money to play for the Braves. That's a liner foul, just wide of the bag at third.
And you know Prado's looking fastball over the middle. He knows the situation as a smart hitter. He's going, okay, he's got to start me off with a strike. He's been walking people. Coach just went out there to reinforce that fact that he's got to throw strikes. So I'm sitting on one. He got it and just missed it.
Prado has reached all 3 times today. A pair of singles and a walk.
Fedko with such a big lead at second base, he could almost score on a wild pitch. They are not paying attention to him, but he gets, when the pitch is thrown, he's way down there. I don't know if anybody noticed that in the Cincinnati dugout. Maybe pull a pickoff play on the back end. That would not be a bad idea here. He is getting off so far as Fedko to the point where you may want to think about a back pick at second base. With 2 strikes, first job, hit your spot here. Don't even worry about it.
Good take by Anthony Prado, the shortstop.
Yeah, 91-mile-an-hour fastball. Big at bat in this ball game. This could decide what we see and who wins this ball game to this at bat. There's usually like 2 or 3 at bats in a ball game that decide it. This is one of them.
Prado, a junior out of Staten Island, New York. Coils bounces one to third, and the first there as Santiago steps on the bag for the 3rd out. Yukon threatens. They do play to run, but still trail by 5. (9-13-0) for Cincinnati, 4-6-0 for Yukon. It's the 6th annual American Championship game. Cincinnati trying to win its first conference crown and make it to their first tournament in 45 years. They'll do so with one of the hottest lineups going in college baseball, averaging nearly 10 runs a game in this tournament. They'll send Bellini, Stapp, and Weimer to the dish. Joey Bellini He's reached twice, a single and a walk. 8 of the 9 have reached at least once today for the Bearcats. Several have reached multiple times.
I don't know if Bellini's thinking along these lines, but he wants a guaranteed hit here. Way went down to third base. Langer playing 7 steps behind the bag. A lot of young players, they don't think of that a lot of times with the bunt. It's there.
High fly ball deep left field. This is long gone. A blast off the bat of Joey Bellini.
He wasn't thinking bunt. Got it up there in the wind. I don't even think the wind would have mattered. He got all of that. He's trying to give his friend Holdings a little run for his Frenchie's money over there. That was hit way out there.
That is his second home run of the year.
Yeah, they're starting to feel it. This ball
This is tape measure.
Crushed. Fastball right down the chute. Knows what to do with it. See ya.
There's 2 levels to that bullpen. That went past the first and off the concrete wall behind the second level. "14 hits for Cincinnati today."
Yeah, because Mitch Holdings says, don't go near Frenchie's. That's my area. You can go do the bullpen.
No chicken tenders when you hit it in the bullpen. One thing, if Cincinnati wins this game, they're going to be a number 4 seed, right? Who's going to want to have them as a number 4 seed in their bracket?
You watch this game. You're watching an Alfred Hitchcock movie if you're a pitching coach. You can say these guys can swing it. It's terrifying.
A team that was predicted last in the league. You think of number 4 seeds to do something in the tournament. One stands above all the rest. How about one winning a national title? In the air to left off the bat of Wyatt Stepp. Bermuda Triangle converging, and look at that play by Prado tracking it down. Oh man.
And ending up in the stands. There's a guy telling you that he doesn't think this game's over. There's no quitting that ball club, and you can see right there. Prado.
Watch how much ground he covers.
But what about the end of the play? The presence of mind to just go ahead and taking this thing. My goodness, you don't know what's on the other side of that.
Right.
Could be steps. And you're wearing cleats.
I don't know if those replays do it justice to show just how far he had to go from his regular shortstop position on a full sprint just to track that down.
To me, the amazing thing is how he kept his feet once he hopped the wall.
Yeah.
Great play.
It's been a clean game overall. We haven't had an error in this game. Joey Weimer looking for another mullet mash. He's had a couple today. I just love watching this guy swing.
It's violent.
Finally goes down on strikes this time out. Second out of the inning.
That's a little Hunter Pence in that swing.
Yeah, it's a good analogy. I like that.
All right, let's see how far he travels right here.
I mean, this sprinting all the way, by the way. If he slows up at all, he never makes the catch.
And you either hop the wall or you crash into it.
At no point did I think the shortstop was going to have a play on that ball. maybe third base, maybe even the left fielder. It had a little more carry to it.
Speaking of carry to it.
Mitch Holding went bombs away again back in the third, then followed it up with an RBI single in the fourth. So he's driven in 4 of Cincinnati's 10 runs today.
It will be known from this tournament as the guy that owned Frenchies, where he hit 2 big bombs this week. There it is. Enchanté, Mitch.
Swing and a miss, strike 3. Well, if you're going to give up a bomb, at least retire the next 3. That was what happened.
There's a Frenchie special, a salute. And Cincinnati right now starting to feel it. And Bellini said, don't leave me out of this thing. Let me add to it. Cincy in control.
35, Mason, Deanna.
Back to Spectrum Field here in Clearwater. American Championship game in Cincinnati on top of Connecticut 10-4. Bottom of the 6th about to unfold. Woodworth, Winkle, and Gazzo.
Mason Deanna behind the plate now for Cincinnati. It was interesting too, talking to Coach Guggens last night. He wasn't sure whether he was going to start Deanna or Holdings. Made the right call.
Popped up, long run for Deanna, who just got in the game and makes a fine play. Inches away from the netting. That's a good way to get the butterflies out.
Coach Guggens hitting all the right buttons
Yeah, right?
right now, huh?
Number 43, Pat Winkle.
I mean, he just gets there as soon as he can. Has to negotiate the screen. He knows it's going to be rotating back. Nice job setting up. And on top of that was he had to negotiate the sun directly overhead.
And he's been sitting down for the last 2 hours and 40+ minutes. Just chilling in the dugout.
Yeah, but that's a position catchers are familiar with.
Yeah. Garrett Shanley, meanwhile, had 54 pitches since entering this game in the 4th inning. And Winkle, 2 strikeouts and a flyout and 3 trips to the plate. The freshman in search of his first hit of the day. Let's see if Shanley can avoid so much as a 3-ball count this inning. That'll be a soft liner into left field, base hit.
I'll tell you this, Scott Guggens will take that over a walk any day.
Absolutely.
Designated hitter number 9, Paul Gazzo.
They haven't invented a 6-run homer yet, have they?
Or a double play walk.
Gazzo's 0 for 2 with a walk. One of the better stories in any conference tournament around happened back on Tuesday when Paul Gazzo homered for Yukon. His brother Sal Gazzo on the same day homered for Tulane. And his family was here to see both of them. That's pretty cool. That's where Mom and Dad spring for the extra appetizer at Applebee's.
Dad's managing the New Britain Bees, so I guess he had the day off, hopefully. The Atlantic League is right in the middle of their season. As we mentioned, her dad is the manager there.
second out of the inning. Our score here in Clearwater is 10-4. We've got some other games going on, including the ACC Championship game, which can be seen on ESPNU. That is in Raleigh, or I should say Durham. And North Carolina with home runs by Bush and Sabato leading it 6-1. Bush, all-conference player for a few years in Chapel Hill. Sabato, the great freshman. McGee is also homered for the Heels. Been an up-and-down season, I should say, for North Carolina. They got off to a really slow start. They were 1-4 in conference, then got hot. Then on what appeared to be a series with a regional host on the line, they lose 2 out of 3 at home against NC State to wrap up the regular season. But now they're certainly playing their way back in to host a regional.
Yeah, Coach Mike Fox does a great job at North Carolina.
Several World Series on his resume for his alma mater.
Yeah, that's the thing too. You like to see that Coach Fox played at North Carolina. Jim Penders played at UConn.
Jim Penders, whose uncle is Tom Penders, the longtime college basketball coach, and I'm told he's here today. He's been here throughout the tournament. And from what I'm told, he's not one of those guys who just sits back and silently takes in the game. He's into it. He's barking out there. Strike, 1-2.
I know Coach Stallings, many years coach at Vanderbilt, came up. His son played for Mike Fox at North Carolina, and we would show Coach down there yelling at the umpires all the time. So yeah, when you're a coach, you're going to let the arbiters you're going to let them know what's going on. Doesn't matter if it's a basketball referee or an umpire. Sure. You're on it.
Can't get a technical foul in this sport. Fetko takes one in, 2 balls, 2 strikes to the right fielder.
Kevin Stallings' son Jacob made it to the big leagues. He's there now. Fine catcher.
I used to watch him warm up with his dad before Vanderbilt basketball games.
My favorite was the night that Trey Turner's at first and Jacob Stallings was catching. And who's going to win this battle, right?
Trey Turner with speed to burn.
Oh my goodness, that was a fun matchup. Jacob Stallings, one of the best arms I've seen in college baseball.
Got under it. Lazy fly to left. And that will retire the side. UConn now just 2 for 12 with runners in scoring position as we head to the 7th.
Clearwater Beach, the White Sands, and the surrounding city, one of the garden spots of the state of Florida, and home of the AAC Tournament. St. Pete, Clearwater, and we've got ourselves a situation now where history could be in the making, Mr. Morgan.
It certainly could. 1974 was the year. We talked about it at the top. Disco was getting started. My man to the right here was probably under a globe somewhere.
Yeah.
Godfather 2 is out in theaters. You like to rub elbows with Francis Ford Coppola, so you have a closer relationship with that film as opposed to someone like me who just watches it every time it's on cable. Right now, Cincinnati potentially has an offer it can't refuse. If they could somehow hold on with a 6-run lead in the 7th, win their first American championship game, and make it to the tourney for the first time in 45 years. It was rocketed to right and off the wall. Jace Mercer making some noise today. They are relentless.
Right fielder number 22.
It's been that kind of a week for the hitters. They're all locked in. And they're starting to see people 2 times through on the relief pitching. When he turns his back, he knows he's got extra bases, and you got your leadoff double. Now the key here is to move him along, but a guy like A.J. Bumpus is going to be up there free swinging, I guarantee you.
The 3rd hit of the game for Mercer, who came in hitting .242 on the year. Cincinnati as a team came into this tournament hitting in the low 240s. And they're averaging nearly 10 runs a game. I mean, you hear it all the time. The hot team in baseball wins in the postseason. But to come from the depths of where they were offensively to where they are and where they have been for 4 games now here in Clearwater, that's something you just don't see very often.
And you know what's interesting, Mike, about their ball club? They're a team that one of their weapons offensively is a stolen base. Well, they've been very unsuccessful at that in this tournament. They've been thrown out 3 times. And we're seeing the other part of the game. Power, extra base hits, patience at the plate. He's locked in.
This guy's been locked in, A.J. Bumpus. Again, it's not, they weren't picked last because people viewed it as a roster that was devoid of talent. They were picked last because they lost almost everybody from a year ago. They're starting second baseman, shortstop, third baseman, catcher, center fielder. 2/3 of their weekend rotation and their best relief pitcher. Nobody loses all that and has a great year. Unless they came in, they kind of limped into this conference tournament. Yes, they were the number 2 seed, but overall they had a losing record. But a lot of these younger players have grown up right before everybody's eyes here in the Sunshine State. Everybody is hitting way above their season numbers. Bumpus got under it. Soft fly to right is missed by Fedko. The sun finally plays a factor in a play in the outfield. That's Kyler Fedko. His brother Christian's at second. Kyler in right. Did not see it.
Look straight up into the sun, no sunglasses, no eye black, and that's what's going to happen. Now, the glove is obviously a tool you're going to use, but he whiffed at that. He wasn't even close.
Now, let me ask you, and I know people ask this all the time. Why would you not be wearing sunglasses on a day like today if you're in the outfield?
Or at least eye blacks, something, yes.
I don't think I'm going to get an answer to that question.
There is no
answer,
right? No answer, yeah. The technology's there to help you.
I mean, shades are still cool, right?
I will say this, though. Anything directly in the sun, it doesn't matter what you have, you're still going to lose it if it's directly in. That looked like, by his reaction, that's what happened.
Yeah.
You look too long at those, you burn a retina out.
It is a strong sun today, no question about it. Temperatures again in the low to mid 90s.
Well, this could be the crushing blow inning right here, because now you've got the Cincinnati Bearcats counting the outs. I mean, they're inside 10 outs. They're starting to feel it. They're starting to say, okay, 1974, here we are again. I get the disco music going in the dugout.
If we had a camera in here, that certainly was worthy of a booth shot. I mean, that is a good looking move.
You like my move?
I do.
Yeah. Where's the Snoop cam when you need it?
Now, see, he's got the eye black.
Well, he's the only guy. We chronicled.
And he's got shades.
For some reason, he's the only guy that wears it.
Sunglasses on the hat, but they're still there.
Yeah.
With the eye black. Oh, Murphy rockets one into right center, and that is a base hit. His first hit of the game. A run scores. Here comes Bumpus around third, and he will glide home. All 9 Bearcats in the starting lineup have officially reached base. All 9 have a hit. And Cole Murphy has a big one.
You talk about a team offensive explosion.
Number 0, Jeremy Johnson.
He hops all over this pitch, pitches up with his big old arms, gets it in right center field. You can almost run 3 days out there. That big is that part of the park is. But the bottom line, now you have an 8-run lead where 2 grand slams you'll need to tie you up.
16 hits today for Cincinnati.
Oh yeah, play the guitar.
Bartender. Another round. Jeremy Johnson. A couple of base knocks to his credit. Got hit by a pitch his last time up, and he's the 9-hole hitter who's reached all 3 times. In the air, left center field. Topov makes the catch on the track. Taking up the third on the play is Cole Murphy.
Even their outs are productive.
Third baseman, number 10, Eric Santiago.
That's a big man right there, Cole Murphy.
Yes, it is.
Very large.
He was lumbering into third. Back to the top of the lineup in Santiago.
Chris Winkle, they call the Condor. I don't know what you could call him, the Albatross. My goodness, he's a huge guy.
All right, you know I like to body double people. I gave you an Eric Burns reference with Jay Weimer. When I look at Cole Murphy and I see that frame, how about Jason Worth?
Oh yeah. Yeah, let the hair grow a little more.
Worth, who had some good years for the Philadelphia Phillies. I played a lot in this ballpark in spring training.
Nice stop right there by Winkle, saved the run. And now you just start to wonder, what does Jim Penders do at this point with his bullpen, knowing that?
Keep him fresh.
Yeah, for next week. It's a dilemma that a coach hates to have.
Right.
But he's got it.
Again, I think it'd be different if this was do or die for UConn, but they're in the field.
Well, if it was do or die for UConn, we would have seen Worcester, I'm assuming,
Sure.
and Wallace way before this. Yeah.
The tougher question for a lot of these coaches next week, and I always have thought it's the toughest decision a coach has to make all year. It's where chess,
I know where you're going with this.
checkers turns into chess, and that is, do you start your ace in game 1?
I've seen it backfire. I've seen it work. I've seen guys go without the ace and it backfire. I've seen guys go without their ace and it works out swimmingly.
If it does backfire, you don't forgive yourself the entire offseason. Neither does your fan base. Because the stats will tell you,
right,
if you're a number 1, number 2 seed, you lose that first game, you're really behind the 8.
Well, I understand that. It all depends on who, if you're a 1 seed, who your 4 seed is. I mean, if it's a team that 10 games under 500.
What if it's Cincinnati?
Well,
I'm throwing my ace.
No, the way they're swinging, you're throwing your ace. There's no question.
Santiago got buckled. Second time he struck out. House with his 3rd strikeout.
Number 2.
That's all House can do. Just keep battling. Jim Penders is going to go out and see if he makes a move.
He sure is. Give me the righty. Santos has been up and ready for a while now in that UConn bullpen. We'll likely see him when we return. Cincinnati getting closer and closer to history, leading at 12-4. all smiles and a whole lot of fun for Cincinnati. Again, they were the team that didn't have a whole lot to lose when they came in this event. The only way they were going to the tournament is to win the whole thing. So yeah, when you put 12 runs, 16 hits on the board, you have some fun. You set up some plastic cups on a bat and take shots. You do air guitar. You do anything you can find to soak it all in.
You think Dr. Cade, when he invented that 1965 Gatorade, he thought it would come to that?
I don't think so.
You know, I watched the 30 for 30. Maybe we could work that in, a little addendum to it.
It's never too late to add to a great piece of television history.
Robert Cade, amazing guy. Well, they're going with a down the line guy, Avery Santos, until this thing gets closer. This is his 12th outing of the year. 11 innings, 14 hits, 8 runs. All of those earned, 8 walks, and 9 strikeouts. They're hitting .311 against him. Fastball, he gets it up there, 90-92. His job here clearly defined, as bad as this sounds, keep it at 8 and hope we can, with our 3 at-bats, put up big crooked numbers, scratch back into this thing.
I couldn't help but notice Kyler Fedko out there in right field, whether or not, after not seeing that fly ball that dropped in the last inning. Oh, yep, there they are, the shades. They are on now. And those aren't the $10 department store kind. I mean, that's those are some good shades right there. But when this happens,
you can see that he's squinting, and when you turn your head to the side like that, you're just saying, I don't want to get hit in the head with this ball. I have no idea where it's going. One of the best plays in Major League history regarding a sunfly ball was the one that Lou Piniella let fall to his feet when he had no idea where it was in the Bucky Dent home run game.
I was panicking before we went on the air today. I thought I had lost my sunglasses. And just in this booth, particularly in the earlier innings when the sun was beaming in behind home plate, I don't know if I would have been able to see much just back here. You're a gamer. You would have been able to take over. I know you. Nothing's going to faze Nick Belmonte.
Yeah, but going back to the Piniella play, he had no idea where the ball was, but he pretended like he did. And the ball landed at his feet, and the runner only got to second base that was on first, and ended up keeping him from scoring.
Well, if you're in that helpless of a position, you might as well fake it, right?
And it was one of the great fake plays of Major League history on a fly ball that you had no idea where it was. So he just picked it up, threw it into second base. The next guy up hits a long fly ball. The runner would attack, but he was only on second. So
Bellini belted a homer his last time up and draws a walk here. By the way, you know, just talking to some of the folks with the Cincinnati program yesterday, I sensed a little bit of confidence when they thought about the matchup, because this is not the first time these teams have met this year. They met a couple of months ago at Yukon. Cincinnati took 2 out of 3 against the Huskies. At that time, Yukon was ranked 22nd in the country. They haven't been ranked since. So Cincinnati has had some success already against Yukon.
but here's what they knew going in. They had to score early. And they did just that.
Oh, boy, did they ever.
9 runs in the first 4 innings. Had to stay away from that elite back end of the bullpen.
Another hit. 17 on the day. Third for Wyatt Stapp, former Tennessee Volunteer.
Left fielder number 26, Joey Weaver.
Just puts the barrel on it right here. Everybody is barreling it up right now for the Bearcats. They're going up there expecting to do just that.
Weimer and the mullet. Young man out of the state of Michigan.
may want to spin a breaking ball to Weimer first pitch, because you know he's going dead ready. He's trying to hit it over Frenchie's. The Gatorade toast is it's ready to go.
Talented high school quarterback. He was actually player of the year in high school football as a quarterback. He wasn't just like some guy who was picking up varsity letters, but his main sport was baseball. He was really good, and then decided to just focus on baseball. He has not played any football in Cincinnati. But I'll tell you one thing, he's played some really good baseball, and particularly here in this tournament.
Made a great diving catch in yesterday's ball game.
Yeah, that might have been the best play in the outfield this entire tournament. Two on, two outs, and a 9-run lead for Cincinnati.
He had a Sports Center top 10 play earlier this year. Did Weimer defensively. Best athlete on the team. You know he sets the tone, and then even today you saw him setting the tone early in the dugout when he got the big hit. Loosened up his teammates in a big game.
2-1. Fastball at 91. By the way, this question comes up all the time this time of year. Is there a 10-run rule? Some tournaments have it, some don't. There is no 10-run rule
The title game.
in the championship game. So we're going 9 innings regardless of the score. Things continue the way they're going. I wonder if Jim Penders would just assume there was a 10-run rule, because at some point your attention turns to next week, which for UConn will be the NCAA tournament. It could very well be the same for Cincinnati if they hold on and win. Certainly will be the case for East Carolina. And then you have UCF and Houston on that proverbial bubble. They'll be sweating it out come tomorrow at noon on the selection show on ESPNU. This is fluid, of course, with all the games still being played, but coming in, these were the bubble teams. Last 5 in. You see UCF and Houston, first 5 out. The first 5 out are done, so they're not going to make a move. But Cincinnati is going to steal a bid from somebody if they hold on and win this game. And what you hope is, if you're affiliated with this league, you hope they don't steal it from one of your own in either UCF or Houston. I think UCF should be in. I'll just go ahead and say that and take a stand. They've defeated Florida, Florida State.
Yep.
I think FAU also on their hit list this year. Possibly Miami. I have to double check that, but they're at a conference. Wins have been extremely good. Weimer draws a walk. So for the second time today, Cincinnati will bat around. And Mitch Holding coming to the plate.
Catcher number 35, Mason Deanna.
I beg your pardon, this is Deanna. Deanna, who came into the game earlier for Holding.
And UCF's another team. You don't want them in your regional. That's a talented
Not at
group.
all. Not at all.
Greg Lovelady's done a nice job over there. They got some players on that ball club. We thought that good chance they were going to beat Cincinnati yesterday for a good portion of that ball game.
They had a little bit of shaky defense over there at shortstop. That did not help matters. If you're going to beat this Cincinnati team the way they're hitting, you better be, if you're not great on the mound, you better be clean defensively. know one thing, if they do make it, when I will be at our own regional somewhere, odds are we won't have Houston. I'll be scoreboard watching. I'll be very curious to see how this offense continues to hit, because they have been unstoppable for 4 straight games here in Clearwater.
I've had a couple of teams this year that are going to surprise some people. A team like a Dallas Baptist has a solid ball club. Coach Hefner over there does a great job. And in Michigan and Indiana, those are another 2 teams that have got dangerous lineups.
Coach Bakich has been able to do in Ann Arbor. Former Clemson assistant. He was on the staff with Jack Leggett, Kevin O'Sullivan, Tim Corbin. All those guys were on the same staff in 01 and 02.
And they have really embraced the analytics over there in Ann Arbor.
Walk, which will score a run. At this point,
I just checking. You wanted to know earlier. UCF did beat Miami 8-7 in the midweek game.
So I mean, their out of conference hit parade is very impressive. I have to think they're in. Much like in basketball, the committee has taken a stance on teams that do not challenge themselves in those 26 or so out of conference games. If you're on the bubble and you just lined up a bunch of weak opponents, you're going to get dinged.
Yeah, conversely, you got a team like University of Florida, 4th strength of schedule in the nation. Their non-conference schedule is outstanding.
Ball came in and hit him. Or did it hit the knob of the bat? Hit the knob of the bat. So a break there for Santos. This is Mercer's 2nd time up in the inning.
Yep. Mike, I was talking about the analytics at Michigan. They went so far as most of the staff at Michigan got certified for the TPI, which is the Titleist Performance Institute, which has a lot to do with joint movement of your body on a golf swing, but a lot of that applies to baseball as well.
Scorched deep right, back, and long gone over the Wawa sign in the right field corner. Grand slam for Jace Mercer. Cincinnati can smell it now.
There's your dagger.
Mercer has a double and a grand slam in this inning.
They are feeling 1974, the last time Cincinnati Bearcats made the tournament.
Put your disco shoes on.
Get the platforms going. Bell bottoms.
You know, we were talking to their SID yesterday, and she brought up a good point. She said, you know, in mid-March, Cincinnati, yeah, go ahead. Bottoms up.
Oh, yeah, look at that.
That's fair.
How good is that?
In mid-March, Cincinnati lost to Niagara 2 or 3 times. This ball's hammered deep left field toward Frenchies, and it's gone. Right into the chicken tenders. Back-to-back. Bumpus following the Mercer Granny with a solo bomb.
The saxophonist hits a note on that one.
Somewhere Kenny G is smiling.
Kenny G, he's got a song, Take Me Home. He's going to say, take me home with a championship, is A.J. Bumpus. Well, Bumpus could possibly be the most outstanding player of this tournament. This ball is going to get up there. Oppo, wind blowing out. Santos knows it. And it's just a total onslaught.
19 runs on 19 hits.
They're going to run out of the Gatorade.
You can make a run to Frenchies, maybe. They've perhaps got it on tap.
No, Wawa's. There's the grand slam by Mercer. Pitch up in his eyes. He's sitting on it. And the wind actually going against him. That's how hard he hit that ball. So he hit that into a crosswind. Oh, they're having a good old time.
You know what I love about this ballpark? There's nothing cookie cutter about it. I mean, you got the elevated porch in the right field corner. It kind of undulates back and forth in left center field. The wall does. You got Frenchies out in the left field corner. Pretty cool spot.
Well, those guys know this. Next week they're going to have a chance to go after a national title. And so will their counterparts across the diamond.
Cincinnati feeling pretty good about making some history here today. Again, they hadn't won a conference tournament game of any kind in 11 years. That goes back to when they were in the Big East. They'd lost 17 in a row before this tournament. They hold on. They'll make it 4-0 here. They'll win their first American Conference tournament. They'll head to the NCAA tournament for the first time since 1974. Bottoms up. A toast to the Bearcats. They are well on their way to making some history today in Clearwater.
I'll have what they're having. That's good stuff.
Yukon now just trying to get this thing over with. Down by 15 runs as we take a look at Jordan Rathbone. I've got Jordan Rathbone down as a utility player.
Might be Randy Polonia on the mound.
I beg your pardon. You are correct. Yes.
In his 12th appearance of the year, only 8 innings, 8 hits, 7 runs, 4 of those earned, 9 walks, 8 strikeouts.
And to answer your question from earlier, there's no way we're seeing any of the top relief pitchers the rest of this game.
Well, unless when the greatest comeback starts in the bottom of this inning and they bring it within 4 or 5 runs.
In fact, this might be good or bad Polonia's job to just finish the game.
First baseman, number 38, Cole Murphy.
Cole Murphy was the last of the Bearcats to pick up a hit in this game. It was a 2-run double his last time up.
Well, 12th batter of the inning.
Double check this, but I'm pretty sure 19 runs is a new record for the American Championship game. 4 home runs today hit by Cincinnati. That could very well be another American record. What they finish hitting in this tournament, I mean, they're going to rewrite the record books, certainly. They came in hitting .340 as a team. They're hitting .514 today. So, I mean, they're going to walk out of here with at least, speaking conservatively here, at least a .350 average for the tourney, if not much higher than that. At least 7 home runs for the week.
Yeah, 3 coming in today, and then you had 4 in this ballgame.
And they came in with 29 runs, so add 9, so 48 runs they've scored in 4 games against some pretty good pitching staffs in this tournament. Hot shot up the arm of Langer and makes a fine play. UConn's turned in a couple of them today, but the story has been Cincinnati's offense. 9 more runs. They lead it by 15. History in the making. Cincinnati leading UConn 19-4. We told you for the first time in this event there's new blood. Somebody not named ECU, Houston, or UConn. Cincinnati came out of the other bracket for the first time in program history, and they've got a chance to make it to the NCAA tournament for the first time in 45 years. A 15-run lead, no 10-run rule in the championship game. Chris Winkle, the junior, starting things off for the Huskies here in the home half. To second. Scooped up by Mercer. One away.
Let's talk about Shanley doing a great job for Cincinnati since he's come on. It was a little shaky at the start, but once he settled in, he's done exactly what has been asked of him. Let him put it in play. Ride the lead, because Cincinnati, we talk about their 19 runs and their 19 hits. They've been playing really good defense the entire week.
Pinch hitter for UConn. The Connor Moriarty. There's going to be a lot of substitutions here for UConn and Cincinnati in the final couple of innings.
In line on Shanley right now, 3 1/3, 1 run. He's walked 4, but it really hasn't factored in. Factored in for 1 run, but that's it. And when he has such a big lead, it's going to take multiple. Staying ahead of hitters, though, last couple innings.
So less than 24 hours away from Selection Sunday, which you can catch on ESPN. Again, the American will be in great shape to have at least 4. That would tie their high water mark. Chance at 5. The SEC will once again lead the nation in bids. Probably 10 is the number they're talking about there. The ACC will have another high number. See the rundown of what we're looking at here the next few weeks. It's safe to say, with all due modesty, of course, we own college baseball here on the ESPN networks. We'll take you through every bit. Every game will be on some platform or another in the postseason. All 16 regionals, all 8 super regionals, and of course every pitch in the World Series. It's been a resurgent year for the Pac-12, particularly at the top. UCLA has been the top dog for a long time. Big 12 has been a good league this year. Congratulations to the North Carolina Tar Heels. They have just won the ACC tournament. 10-2 the final there from Durham. They also play at a minor league ballpark at that event. Tar Heels have secured a host spot in a regional. Coach Fox and company hoping to have a memorable season. They, of course, were in Omaha last year. They lost a lot of key players from that team a year ago that made it to Omaha. But Bush is back. Sabato's a great freshman. They got some good pitchers on the mound. Watch out for the Tar Heels. And of course, one of the questions becomes, is this the end of the line for Florida State's streak of making it to the tournament?
Yeah, that's going to come down a selection show tomorrow for sure. A lot of people think they've done enough to make it in. Mike Martin, number 11, announces final season before the start of this year.
Over on ESPN2, Ole Miss leading Vanderbilt in the SEC Championship. Rebels have the bases loaded. Now, Vanderbilt's playing with house money. They're going to be a national seed no matter what happens in that game.
See, I still think of Mike Bianco as a young coach, and he's the dean now.
He's the dean.
At Ole Miss.
He put together a World Series team that snapped a streak. If I'm not mistaken, the last time they made it to Omaha before Bianco's run a few years ago was 1972. So disco hadn't even started. Bianco got them there, but you know how fans are. Once you get them there, now they get a little greedy. We should be going every other year. Hammered down the left field line. This is going to be a foul ball. Of course, Paul Maneri at LSU knows a thing or two about that. There's some fan bases out there, once they get a taste of the College World Series and winning national championships, they just assume it's going to be a regular occurrence.
Well, I'll tell you what, LSU had a lot of injuries this year, especially the pitching staff. And they did a great job going through that SEC tournament, losing that heartbreaker 18-inning ball game against Mississippi State, but then coming back and beating them 2 nights later.
Since you mentioned that game, a shout out to my man Todd Walker, who worked that game.
That's right.
Todd and I worked a game this year.
Yeah, he had them both.
Georgia and Clemson.
Yeah.
That went 18 innings, 6 hours and 33 minutes. One of the longest games in the history of Division I baseball. So Todd works that game, and it goes 6 hours and 43 minutes. So Todd Walker, if you're listening, you are the curse, my friend. It is not me.
Shortstop, number 1, Anthony.
Is the longest game still Texas, BC in a regional in Austin?
I should know that because we
20 or
talked
21
about it.
innings, somewhere in there. Off the top of my head, I do. About 10 years ago.
Yeah. I remember that game well, and I'm trying to think if that's at the top or number 2.
I know Mickey Yoki was coaching BC at the time. I think Augie Garrido had Texas at the time.
We actually had in that 6 hour and 33 minute game 50 strikeouts, which is one short of the all-time mark in NCAA history, 51. The game was stuck at 2-2 from the 7th inning on.
Nothing will prolong a game within a lot of strikeouts, because you can factor in a lot of foul balls. Counts are going to go minimum of 3 pitches per batter.
We saw about 18 pitchers. Ole Miss now leading Vanderbilt 4-0.
What goes through your mind now if you're a UConn player is the fact that, look, you're playing a game, you still got to grind it out. Because these are times where, as a player, you challenge yourself mentally.
I know it's going through the mind of a Cincinnati player right now.
Yeah, they're counting it down.
This is where I wish baseball had a clock. They just ready to go and celebrate.
Cincinnati players are sitting in the dugout going, boy, where are we going to go next week?
Absolutely.
Where are they going to send us? That's all going through their mind. You know, UConn, the same thing. However, They're on the short end here, and it's a tough, tough mental grind to battle through a game where you're as good as you are, UConn, and you're down 15 runs. This does not happen to a Jim Pender's team. So a lot of this for pride. And the way this game developed, Mike, people will see the score and they go, well, that great bullpen that UConn has. Well, Cincinnati scored so early, they never factored in their frontline bullpen guys.
Popped up. And this should put a lid on the 7th. It will. Catch is made. We head to inning number 8. Cincinnati up by 2 touchdowns and a 2-point conversion. All Cincinnati here today. 19 runs, 19 hits, flawless in the field, leading Connecticut 19-4. And the Bearcats on the verge of history. They've never won this event. They haven't been to the postseason in 45 years. All that likely to change after they record 6 more outs. First things first, can anybody get this lineup out? And the very first inning, Jeff Kirsten, after giving up a single to Joey Bellini, induced a double play off the bat of Wyatt Stapp. So he faced the minimum. Since then, it has been one big inning after another for the Bearcats. They have scored in 5 innings, 5 of the 7. They've batted around twice. They have a 5-run inning and a 9-run inning. Jeremy Johnson did not figure to play much for Auburn this year. Transferred to Cincinnati. He was part of an Auburn team that did make it to the postseason last year. In fact, that Auburn team was 1 win away from Omaha. They lost to Florida Gators in a very entertaining super regional. He's got a chance to go to another postseason with a different team. Pop up. Be hauled in center for the first out here on the 8th. Our next 30 for 30 film is entitled Qualified. It tells the story of Janet Guthrie, the first woman to qualify for the Indy 500 and the Daytona 500. She did so in the mid-70s. Determination and skill, 2 words attributed to Janet Guthrie during her time. To find out more, catch the premiere on Tuesday at 8 Eastern Time, 5 Pacific on ESPN and the ESPN app. One gone for Santiago. Can't say enough about the job Scott Guggens, the Cincinnati head coach, has done in a short amount of time. They were not supposed to be at this point in year 2. Basically handed over an entirely new roster. Santiago joins the multi-hit parade.
And now it's the multi-hit parade.
Yeah. We changed over hit parade in like the 5th. That was elementary.
Yeah, once Cole Murphy got on board.
Shortstop number 2, Joey Bellini.
Yeah, and I've known Scott Guggens since his days at Xavier, and he's always had teams that have been good enough. He's been in regionals. He's a veteran of regionals. So he'll know how to prepare his team for next week.
A team that had a bunch of seniors a year ago pass ball on the play. They have 9 freshmen this year. Some JUCO transfers, some Power 5, Power 6 transfers, if you include the 2 from the SEC.
And a guy like Jeremy Johnson, he's got a, as you mentioned, veteran of postseason play. Played at Auburn last year. He's going to say, he's going to tell him about his experience in Gainesville, where they got their hearts ripped out on the Austin Langworthy home run that sent the Gators to Omaha.
Mentioned Ian Happ. Cincinnati also has Josh Harrison in the pros, infielder for the Detroit Tigers. Scott Googins took over a moribund program. The graduate of Ohio Wesleyan. Did a great job with the Musketeers, who won back-to-back Big East championships during his tenure. At Xavier for 12 years, the all-time winningest coach in Xavier history, 341 wins. He made it to 4 NCAA tournaments there. You do something like that at a school like that, and you're going to get some attention from some of the bigger programs out there. That paved the way for Scott Googins to get the Cincinnati job. And of course, again, he's had so much success as a player and a coach in the state of Ohio.
Designated hitter number 14.
Ohio Wesleyan is located in Delaware, Ohio. He moved into a coaching role as a senior and stayed on after graduation, coaching first base and working with the team's catchers. His wife Jody, a former volleyball standout at Xavier.
Since you were talking about Cincinnati players from the pros, how about this name? Sandy Koufax. Pitched at 2 schools. I played at Columbia and University of Cincinnati.
That's right. I remember Columbia, believe it or not, more than I remember Cincinnati, just because Columbia is not exactly known as a baseball hotspot for future major leaguers.
We'll tell that to Lou Gehrig.
Mike Morgan alongside the Iron Horse of analysts,
That's
Nick
right.
Belmonte.
That's me.
Oh-2 pitch.
And I know on a day like today,
Oh, that one hit the umpire square. Grady Smith.
And it's always going to happen on a game like this where you're 3 hours and a half plus in, and
that's all Grady Smith needs. He's been behind home plate. It is a strikeout, by the way. The inning is over. Hopefully Grady Smith is okay as he's doubled over trying to catch his breath. Cincinnati, the story of the week and the story of the day. 19 runs on 20 hits, and how about 4 home runs today? Mitch Holding, his second straight day, goes bombs away, a 3-run shot. That was in the 3rd inning. That would set the tone. A 5 spot in the 3rd. Cincinnati led it 6-1 at that point. They were far from done. Joey Bellini with a solo blast to lead off the 6th inning. Another no-doubter. And then it was just pad the stats time. Jace Mercer with a granny. One of the farthest hit balls this week, and it had been followed up by A.J. Bumpus, who has been tearing the cover off the baseball throughout this American Conference Baseball Tournament. 4 home runs in total. Cincinnati inching closer and closer to history, leading at 19-4. Nick Belmonte, your thoughts?
Well, it's been that kind of a game. They scored early, took the Yukon back into the bullpen out of this, and that was something that you thought you would see a guy like Jacob Wallace or Caleb Worster coming in, but once they scored 9 runs in the first 4 innings, they've been fighting the uphill battle since then. So, but it's, you give credit to Cincinnati, they had a job to do. They've done it, and they just got to hold on now for 2 innings.
And as we look at a new pitcher, Nathan Moore, out of the bullpen, the junior, give Garrett Shanley credit. He worked 4 innings, allowed just 3 hits and 1 run, just in case there was any doubt if Cincinnati was going to be able to hold on and win this game. He kept the Yukon bats relatively silent.
Yeah, he's the unsung hero out of the pen for Cincinnati today. Nathan Moore, good arm, 90-91 fastball, good slider. Again, throw strikes at the big lead.
Michael Woodworth, an all-conference player, one of 7 Californians on the roster for UConn, will start things off here in the bottom of the 8th inning. Chopper. Nice job by Nathan Moore just in the game, feeling his position for the first out. Told you there'd be several defensive changes. How about this one for Cincinnati?
Catcher number 30.
That is Nate Meyer, the freshman from Dublin, Ohio. If the last name sounds familiar, yes, he is indeed the son of the longtime head football coach Urban Meyer.
Yeah, Urban and Shelley used to bring in the Gator games for baseball many times through the years. This stay in Gainesville. Talking to Coach Googans about it, he said he might be the hardest working guy we have on the team. And you would expect that.
Thad Phillips, another pinch hitter. These are coming fast and furious for both teams here. If it's close, I would advise anybody with a bat to swing at this point.
Yeah, you can't be selective now.
You got a 15-run game. You got a home plate umpire who just got nailed. He's been out there for the better part of 4 hours. Bradansky, the pinch hitter for the Huskies. Cole Bradansky.
Well, not only UConn going to be in the tournament next week, they have a lot to look forward to at the new stadium next year.
Elliott Ballpark.
Yeah, named after Doug Elliott, who played for the aforementioned Andy Baylock, the coach. Doug Elliott was the MVP of their club in 1982. His son played on the UConn team that had George Springer.
They've basically been playing in a glorified high school ballpark. I mean, when you think about what Jim Penders has done and what he's had to work with, incredible. And believe you me, he has had offers to go to other programs. He has elected to stay, and UConn is awfully glad that he has. We are glad to head to the 9th. Cincinnati 19, UConn 4. Meyer just got into the game, made a grab. Sports Center tonight after Braves Cardinals with Anderson and Bucci. Inside Justin Verlander's fantastic season as he faces the Red Sox at home. Plus the Baseball Tonight crew breaks down why there has been so many impactful rookies called up already this season. And SC Featured tells the story of a retired Marine accomplishing a feat thanks to the inspiration of 3 fallen friends. That's Sports Center tonight, 10 Eastern on ESPN. Mike Morgan, Nick Belmonte. The countdown is on. Cincinnati up by 15 runs. We've entered the 9th. Bearcats in good shape for their first postseason appearance since 1974. J.P. Bitzenhofer is the pinch hitter. I'll bet you J.P. woke up this morning and said, boy, probably not going to get in that bat today, but I'll cheer my team on and hope we can be part of history. Well, now he's got a chance at both.
20 at bats on the year. 4 for 20, even 200. It's the best part of getting the big lead in a title game. You get to have the entire team get out there and experience it. Let's see, 20 years down the road, 30 years. Yeah, I played in that one.
This event for this particular conference started in 2014. Houston won it that year. ECU took home the trophy in 2015. Yukon in 2016. Houston in 2017. ECU again last year. And now there's a good chance you'll have a first-timer added to the list. Here's the 2014 Houston squad. East Carolina's been to several NCAA tournaments, and they've won whatever league they've been in several times, including twice in the still rather new American Conference. Yukon in 2016 before they went to Gainesville for the regional. 2017 it was Houston again. 2018 ECU, and ECU was the prohibitive favorite this year. I mean, there are #1 seeds, and then there are what ECU was, which was a team that was expected to win this thing. I don't want to say easily, but if there were Vegas odds on this thing, there wouldn't have even been a close second. Cincinnati was the #2 seed, and everybody just kind of said, well, I mean, you know, they're under 500. I wouldn't pick Cincy. Now all of a sudden Cincinnati 1 inning away from history.
But they earned the seed by being 13 and 11 in the conference. But you're right. I mean, East Carolina 20 and 4 in the conference. No one came close to them. Scott Guggen says we don't care.
Mystery as Deanna gets a base hit. Backup catcher into the game in the last couple of innings. Only mystery now in terms of seeding at the top will be, can the Pirates pick up a national seed and they're right on that bubble? If they get it, they'd probably be #8. If not, they'll still host a regional, but would likely have to go on the road if they advance to a super. And then, of course, on the bottom end, the drama of sorts will be whether or not both UCF and Houston get in as bubble teams.
Have a day, Mr. Mercer.
Day continues as he stings another one. That's going to be off the base of the wall. Bases will be loaded. No mercy shown by Cincinnati. They are the Cobra Kai of the American Conference.
Yeah, they're sweeping the leg here. Ain't no doubt about that. No mercy from Mercer. 5th hit
Right fielder #4
of the ball game for Mercer.
Well, we saw Meyer make a catch. Now we'll see Nate Meyer getting the bat. Urban's boy with a bat. hitting a cool 130 on the year. I like that approach. First pitch you see, rip away. Bases loaded, nobody out.
Coach Guggen says he's got a good career. He loves his work ethic. And he's got good size as a freshman. He'll get even stronger as the years go. Be fun watching him develop.
Father Urban Meyer recently retired.
People realize Urban Meyer played minor league baseball. It was brief, but got a shot. I want to say it was with the Braves, not mistaken.
You'd be correct. Drafted by the Braves. Know this better than I with your time near Gainesville during the Urban Meyer run as the head Gator coach, but does he not have a daughter or two that were great volleyball players?
Absolutely, yes. I want to say one played at Florida Gulf Coast and maybe Georgia Tech. I'm just guessing. Could be right.
Young Nate Meyer has some big footsteps to fill on multiple fronts. Father's a Hall of Fame coach. Your sisters were great athletes in their sport of choice, volleyball. Finally, 3-2 pitch. Meyer goes down swinging.
Challenge, 87-mile-an-hour fastball. You don't want to leave it in the bag with the bases loaded in the 19-4 game.
First baseman, number 8, Griffin Merritt.
Griffin Merritt gets in on the fun. Another pinch hitter.
Same thing applies. I mean, you're swinging from your shoes here.
"19 runs on 22 hits for Cincinnati. And they are going to rewrite every American tournament record in existence, at least offensively, what they've done in these 4 games.
Let's talk about that. They came in, as you mentioned, hovering around 500 overall. 13-11 in conference. They earned this. They came here and they were the best team in this tournament.
No question.
And there wasn't any fluke victories.
No.
Something happened weird. They came out and earned this.
You can't say they took an easy path. I mean, they beat good teams. They beat them soundly. Dominating offensively in every game.
I actually like the way they came back yesterday. From UCF grabs the lead around the 4th inning, and then it's like, uh-oh, is it going to be one of those deals where they're going to say, well, all right, we made it this far. No, they went for the jugular at that point.
That's a huge deal because if they lose that game, they play another game.
Right.
So at that point, you're really burning out your pitching.
That's it.
And you're at a huge disadvantage.
We were talking about that earlier today. The fact that there were not 2, if necessary, games yesterday, it could have gone to midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning.
No question, yeah. 2 3-0 teams here in this championship game. Cincinnati has gone through opponents pitching like a hot knife through butter from Tuesday on.
And here's what you like if you're Scott Guggens. This pitching staff has not been overtaxed.
Not at all.
They're going to be going to the tournament wherever they get sent next week, rested and ready to go.
Yeah, the only bad news for Cincinnati is they're going to have a few more days to cool off. I mean, they might want to just keep playing. They might not want a day off at this point.
If that's all your bad news is, things are good.
Yeah, I mean, that's the worst thing you can say for Cincinnati. I don't think they're going to want to leave Clearwater. They might just start buying some property near Del Boca Vista.
At the Broward Gate. I hope they show up at Marchot Stadium when they return and give a nice little
they should.
reception party.
That's a good point.
I'm calling for that.
Usually when something like this happens, the fans back in Cincinnati or whatever school it might be, they get information on when the plane will land. And a lot of those fans might meet them at the airport. I think this team has earned that. Obviously, Scott Googins has earned that.
They made the right choice in naming Scott Googins the coach. This team's going to be fun to watch through the years.
That'll find a hole on the left side and will score a run. The 20th of the day for Cincinnati.
And that's the run that's going to turn heads naturally. You know, 19. Okay. 19. 20. Who did that?
Yep.
Cincinnati? Uh-oh, what's going on down there? That's going to turn heads around the nation.
I think the fact that Cincinnati's name is going to show up on a regional bracket is going to turn a lot of heads.
Little backup slider just turned on, barreled it up. Backup sliders are not by design.
9 teams play baseball in this conference. 8 of them were picked ahead of Cincinnati. And that's why we love the sport. It's one of the most unpredictable out there. People look at college football every year and they see the top 10 and it's like, I recognize these teams from the last 5 years.
Yeah.
College basketball. Hey, what do you know? Kansas, Kentucky, Duke, North Carolina in the top 10.
Yeah, then you get your Stony Brooks.
In baseball, you get your Stony Brooks, your Fresno States.
Coastal Carolina winning it all.
Yep. It's the one sport of the big 3 that you still have Cinderella not just winning a couple games in the postseason, but a chance to go all the way to the highest of heights. And as you mentioned, in the case of Coastal, I would throw Fresno State in there.
Sure. 2
national champs. And you look at Selection Sunday tomorrow noon, ESPNU, you're going to see some teams that you haven't seen in a while. You're going to see some teams off that list that we're used to seeing a lot.
I'll think about UC Santa Barbara now. They've made some noise the last, 5 years. You've heard a little bit of Andrew Checketts, who started his college career as a pitcher for the University of Florida.
That's right.
Then went over to Oregon State, came all conference there. Now's at the helm, done a great job.
I'm more than familiar with the Argentine Cowboys. Had them in their super regional at Louisville a few years ago. How did they get there? To the World Series, a walk-off granny by a pinch hitter, a freshman by the name of Sam Cohen, who had 26 at-bats all year.
And 2 strikes on him.
Yeah. Against a first-round draft pick and Birdie on the mound.
Throwing 100.
So, I mean, that's what we love about the game. That's what we love about the postseason in college baseball. There's nothing I love about this game for Jim Penders, who's probably wishing there was a 10-run rule or a 15-run rule or some rule that just allowed us to all move on from this game and get ready for the postseason. But that's not the case. Rules is rules, Nick Belmonte. And we'll proceed with Cincinnati leading at 21-4.
Pitching change on for Yukon. Caleb Worster on the 3/4 sidearm pitcher and one of their better back end guys, and just getting a little work here as the game is out of hand. And Jim Penders said, let me get my guy a little bit of work. See the numbers on the year, outstanding. 33rd appearance, 4-1 record. Sparkling ERA in he's one of those guys, you just can't barrel him up. And a guy we thought was going to factor in, Mike Morgan, somewhere late in the tight ball game, say 7th, 8th inning, we'd see this guy, then Jacob Wallace to finish, but just get a little work in here.
And the one advantage that UConn had today, and it was a distinct one, was bullpen and bullpen depth. But obviously in a game like this, it didn't come to play a factor. I'm kind of sorry that some of our audience didn't get a chance to see Jacob Wallace, because
he's electric.
He is a flamethrower.
Touch 100 miles an hour.
3-1, 15 saves, and a 0.73 ERA. So had UConn been able to have a lead late in this game, no doubt we would have saw him, and it would have been a lot of fun to watch. Santiago and this Cincinnati offense has been fun to watch.
I did have to ask Jim Penders about Worcester. I said, okay, he's a Northeastern guy. He's from Rhode Island. It's Worcester, right? It's not Worcester. He said, no, it's Worcester. Okay, gotcha. Just don't make that mistake in Worcester. Don't call it Worcester. They will correct you quickly. That's what Holy Cross is.
The headliner for Cincinnati last year was a young man by the name of Manny Rodriguez. He was a 10th round draft pick of the Mets. One of the many starters they lost from a team that had to scratch and claw their way to a 500 finish in year number 1 of Scott Guggen's.
And speaking of the draft, Mason Fioli from UConn is going to be very high draft.
Yeah, no question.
Ryan Packard, Spencer Brickhouse from East Carolina will be up there. Jake Agnos, East Carolina lefty.
Imagine Fioli will start in game 1 on Friday for UConn in whatever regional they land. And again, if you get a good start from him with that bullpen of the back end, you don't have to score a lot of runs to win that all-important first game. Despite what has happened here today, UConn is still a very formidable team in postseason for whoever has to play them. That'll find grass in center field, and we played another run, 22-4.
Yeah, they're staying hot all the way through that lineup. We're looking at Worcester's glove. Look at that leather strand going through now. Back in the Skip Bertman era at LSU, back when Ben McDonald's pitching, a lot of the pitchers in that era had this long string coming from their gloves. I don't know the reasoning behind it. You never see any other position but pitchers have it that way. You won't see a third baseman with a long string off their glove. Especially left-handed pitchers, right? Different breed.
Very much so. Bellini, one of 4 home runs. He hit his in the 6th inning. 24 hits for Cincinnati. You're at the point now where you want to save a few for next weekend.
Worcester having trouble finding his rhythm here.
You're an old school guy. Let me ask you, when I...
Well, I embrace some of the analytics.
Okay. All right, well, when I mention this to some of the old school guys, they kind of cringe a little bit, so I want to throw this your way, and I've mentioned it already today. Would there not be a reason to have a 10-run rule in a game like this? I mean, they do it in softball, for crying out loud. They play a 7-inning game.
And if you just want to split it down the middle and make it some arbitrary 12-run rule or whatever, I'm for it. Yeah. Especially late like this when you're out of pitching.
Yeah, I mean,
makes no sense. Yeah.
Like everybody in both dugouts is ready to move on from this game. We can safely say that. So, yeah, you have it in earlier rounds in conference tournaments. I mean, I'd be in favor for it in the regular season, quite frankly. You play 56 games. To second. Should be 2. It is. 4-6-3 twin killing. We will head to the bottom of the 9th. Three outs away from history for Cincinnati, leading at 22-4, trying to make their first NCAA tournament by virtue of an automatic bid, winning their conference tournament. It would be their first postseason appearance since 1974, and they are well on their way to doing just that. Think about the year for Cincinnati as a whole. Football went 11-2. Basketball team won the American Conference tournament, and now the baseball team is going to win the American Conference tournament. So not a bad year to be a Bobcat or a Bearcat, as it were. Ben Maycock, another pinch hitter for UConn.
Well, one thing for sure, that coaching staff at Cincinnati has done a great job with this ball club, especially with all the players they lost from a year ago.
I have a feeling this is not the last time the Bearcats will be relevant in the postseason discussion. I think Scott Googins not only is the right guy for the job, you just look at his track record. You take Xavier to 4 NCAA tournaments. There's nothing flukish about that. And then Cincinnati in year 2, after again doing very little over the last 45 years. That to me is the sign of a guy who is going to take a program to the next level. And the next challenge for Cincinnati could very well be, much like it has been for UConn and Jim Penders, there's going to be suitors for a coach like that.
And that's how it happens. But they know they have a good one in
Third baseman number 20, Connor Moriarty.
Connor Moriarty at the dish.
And not to overlook with Winkle, big hit right there from a standpoint of what he has done in his tournament, not necessarily in this ball game, but Winkle's done a nice job. Going to walk out of here leading them in the tournament and hitting.
I'll tell you one thing too, big picture, this conference is in really good shape. Talk about Wichita State, the latest edition. You know they're going to be back in the postseason before long.
Yeah, I like that young club Top Butler has, and they competed.
I mean, there's really not a weak spot. Like most of the really good conferences still have a weak link, so to speak. Yeah, that's beyond a rally cap.
If that thing works,
we're sending it straight to Cooperstown.
No question. No question. But these guys, you know, they'll turn it around. UConn, they know they're playing next week. Just one of those games. I mean, you're undefeated in this tournament coming in.
Yeah, I'm not worried about UConn. Margin of victory in one baseball game doesn't mean a whole lot.
Especially what we talked about, the way they have good hitting, good back into the bullpen. We talked about good starting pitching.
I think the bigger story is obviously Cincinnati, and again, I think the American, I mean, you could make a very strong case that it's ahead of the Big Ten. More years than not. We could sit here and debate this year versus last year versus the year before, but
Left fielder number 27.
You hear so often the term Power 5, and we assume it's the same 5 leagues. In baseball, I'll put the American in the Power 5 more often than not.
And one thing you're seeing around the Big Ten, you're going to start seeing a little more of the newer stadiums coming in, and that's going to make that conference better.
Was hammered. It's got to feel good for Topa, who's really struggled in this tournament. Give him an RBI. And Yukon is on the board for the first time since the 5th inning. 22-5.
But we'd be remiss if we don't congratulate Scott Guggen's staff, J.D. Hobbin, Kyle Sprague, Tony McKinney. Those coaches, they work it. Yeah, a lot of times the staff, there's Coach Heilman. I was talking to Coach Heilman before the game. I said, you know, there's a lot of people that are rooting against you today for bubble team. He goes, I know it. But that's the nature of the beast this time of year.
Two balls and a strike on Prado. Cincinnati 1 out away. Popped up. This might do it. In fair territory. Now foul territory. It's bobbled and the catch is made. And Cincinnati has made history. They are going to the tournament for the first time in 45 years. Dog pile in Clearwater. Cincinnati winning its first conference tournament championship. They joined Houston, East Carolina, and Yukon. Now a new team has entered the fray for the American Trophy here in year 6. Cincinnati does it in convincing fashion. 22 runs on 24 hits, 4 home runs in the game, and a team that was projected last at the beginning of the year winds up going a game over 500, their 30th win of the year. They clinched the championship, and they clinched their first tournament berth since 1974. Hats off to Scott Guggens, and hats off to the Bearcats.
And what we saw, Mike, they came out here and they earned this title. So if you got them in your regional, be careful. This team could swing it, and they're playing with great confidence right now.
The bubble has burst for somebody. Who will it be? We'll find out on Monday with the selection show, but Cincinnati just stole a bid. The American hopes it's not one of its own, as this league in very good shape for at least 4 bids, maybe 5 now, if both Houston and UCF can get in, as well as East Carolina. That's going to do it for us. It's been our pleasure, as always, to bring you the American Championship game from here in Clearwater. For Nick Belmonte and our entire ESPN crew, this is Mike Morgan saying so long. Congratulations to Cincinnati. They're going dancing. So long from Clearwater, everybody.